Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shripad Aindra Prabhu Ke. On behalf of Shri Radha Shyam Sundar, Lalita Vishakha Devi, Shri Krishna Balaram Ji, Shri Gaur Nitai Ji, Srila Prabhupada, I would like to thank all of you who are present here today.
तो हमारे कृष्ण बलराम गौर निताई और राधा श्याम सुंदर और श्रील प्रभुपाद जी के तरफ से हम सबको धन्यवाद देना चाहते हैं.
It's a great pleasure and privilege for me to be among all of you, very sincere devotees here today.
तो ये मेरे लिए बहुत ही सौभाग्य की बात है कि हम आप सबके बीच में यहाँ पर आज आए हैं.
I am so happy to see that despite the fact that Aindra Prabhu is not physically present in front of us for the last 13 years, but despite that, all of you have maintained that presence in your heart and which is still there today.
तो हालांकि आइंद्र प्रभु पिछले 13 साल से हमारे बीच में शारीरिक रूप से उपस्थित नहीं हैं, पर फिर भी हम आप सबके बीच में, सबके हृदय में आइंद्र प्रभु की उपस्थिति का अनुभव कर सकते हैं.
The life and examples which Prabhuji has laid has inspired many of you, including myself, to be always in his presence.
तो उनके जो शिक्षा है और उनका जो जीवन है, उनके माध्यम से आइंद्र प्रभु हमेशा हमारे बीच में है.
So many devotees from all over the world are still hearing the kirtan sung by Aindra Prabhu and the following in that footsteps.
तो संपूर्ण विश्व के भक्त लोग आइंद्र प्रभु के कीर्तन सुनते हैं और अभी भी सुने ही जा रहे हैं.
Because that purity is there.
क्योंकि वो शुद्धता उनमें है.
Many of us, we know the philosophy, we are hearing every day, morning and night. But the conviction which he had that the Lord is present in his holy name and the means of deliverance for the people is through the chanting of the holy name.
तो हम सब सिद्धांत सुनते हैं, पर आइंद्र प्रभु ने जो अपने जीवन में उतारे हैं कि भगवान जो हैं अपने हरिनाम में उपस्थित हैं.
Not only Prabhuji had this firm conviction, realization, understanding that the Lord is there, but Prabhuji could also implant this trust and faith in all his followers, including myself.
तो सिर्फ ऐसा नहीं है कि आइंद्र प्रभु सिर्फ समझे थे कि भगवान जो हैं उनके हरिनाम के माध्यम में उपस्थित हैं, पर ये जो शिक्षा है वो इतने सारे भक्तों के हृदय में उन्होंने उनका जो बीज रोपण कर दिए हैं.
It's a great pleasure for us today. Din Pavanitaya Prabhu is there, Akinchan Prabhu is there. So many devotees are there. Stoka Krishna Prabhu is there. So many devotees are there. They have taken this service at heart despite being very young in age.
तो यहाँ पर इतने जो सब भक्त लोग बैठे हैं, पवन निताई प्रभु, स्मित कृष्ण प्रभु, अकिंचन कृष्ण प्रभु, तो ये सब भक्त लोग अपने जीवन में ये जो हरिनाम का जो शिक्षा है इसको ग्रहण किए हैं इतने कम उम्र में.
I was very fortunate to be having a debate with Prabhuji one time. because in management it goes like this. So I told him that this ISKCON Vrindavan is most importantly standing on two pillars.
तो एक बार प्रभु जी के साथ में मेरा वार्तालाप हो रहा था और इसमें हमने बताया, कैन यू रिपीट महाराज वन टाइम, कैन यू रिपीट द लास्ट सेंटेंस,
That this ISKCON Vrindavan is standing most importantly on two pillars.
तो वार्तालाप में मैंने प्रभु जी को बोला कि इस्कॉन वृंदावन जो हैं ये दो स्तंभ में खड़े हैं.
The first part is led by Mukundadatta Prabhu. He's taken so nice care of the lordships, along with so many devotees. There is a whole army. There is a whole army. Vishakha Mataji is there, Govinda Mataji is there, Padmavati Mataji is there. There is a whole army dedicated to be serving the Lord in a very exemplary way.
तो पहला जो स्तंभ है वो मुकुंद दत्ता प्रभु उसका संचालन कर रहे हैं, हमारे जो हेड पुजारी हैं, बाकी सब भक्तों के साथ में.
The deity worship of ISKCON Vrindavan is to such an exalted position. Whether you eat the Mahaprasad, whether you come, you see the decoration. Whether coming and having darshan of Radha Shyam Sundar would put many devotees, they would be lost. They would be lost in the thinking that the Lord is definitely present here, as mentioned in the scriptures.
तो इस्कॉन वृंदावन का जो भगवान के अर्चा विग्रह का जो पूजा करने का जो स्तर है वो बहुत ऊंची स्तर है. चाहे आप भगवान का महाप्रसाद ग्रहण कर रहे हैं, चाहे भगवान का जो सुंदर सजावट है उसका दर्शन कर रहे हैं, तो बहुत ही ऊंची स्तर में है इस्कॉन वृंदावन का अर्चा विग्रह.
Not only the expertise lies in the devotees because they are smart, so they are able to do the service, but the devotion depicted by this line of devotees in serving the Lord is also very high.
जो भक्ति भाव से इतना जो सेवा करके ये जो अर्चा विग्रह की सेवा है इसको ऊंची, इतना जो ऊंची स्थान दिए हैं, ये भी बहुत अच्छा है.
This could be made possible because Mukundadatta Prabhu himself is a very devoted person.
ये संभव है क्योंकि मुकुंद दत्त प्रभु जो हमारे हेड पुजारी हैं वो भी बहुत उच्च कोटि का भक्त हैं.
So I told him, you see, that is possible because Mukundadatta Prabhu is having such kind of devotion and is a person who has that love and affection for the Lord. That is why he has been able to do that. Otherwise, scripturally, it is not possible to happen to such an extent.
तो हमने कहा आइंद्र प्रभु से कि मुकुंद दत्त प्रभु इस उच्च कोटि के भक्त हैं और इतने अच्छे से वो सेवा कर रहे हैं, इसीलिए ये संभव हुआ है. जो अर्च विग्रह का जो स्तर है, भगवान की पूजा का जो स्तर है, नहीं तो ये संभव नहीं होता शास्त्रिक दृष्टि से.
So then I told him, you see, I'm in your room today and see how many deities are there, so many shaligrams, so many deities are here today. But you have also been able to establish the chanting of the holy name, the presence of the Lord, and the ambience, the environment created by the pure chanting of yourself and your devotees has won the hearts of anybody visiting ISKCON Vrindavan.
तो हमने उनको कहा कि देखिए आज हम आपके रूम में बैठे हैं और इतने सारे शालग्राम शिला हैं, भगवान विराजमान हैं, और आप भी ये जो हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र जो आप यहाँ मंदिर में स्थापना किए हैं और इतने सारे भक्त इसको ग्रहण किए हैं.
So you cannot tell me that it has not happened. It has happened by you, but it has happened because the Lord's blessing is flowing through your hands.
तो इसीलिए आप कह नहीं सकते हैं कि ये नहीं हुआ है. ये हुआ है क्योंकि भगवान का जो कृपा है आपके माध्यम से ये प्रवाहित हो रहा है.
So after some time, because it's very not easy to defeat Prabhuji, And after some time, he got to understand that whatever this person is saying is a reality. So he accepted that fact that the Lord mercy flows through certain devotees.
फिर कुछ समय बाद में जाके प्रभु जी ने स्वीकार किया है कि जो भक्त लोग यहाँ हरिनाम कर रहे हैं उसको भगवान स्वीकार कर रहे हैं.
And it is possible because of the leadership and of the direction laid down by Prabhuji himself.
और ये संभव हुआ है क्योंकि प्रभु जी स्वयं ही ये जो 24 घंटे का जो कीर्तन है इसका संचालन कर रहे हैं.
I am so happy I was having meeting with Nitai Prabhu few days before. So during that meeting he mentioned that I go to the altar for dressing the deities. So I was thinking that these devotees, despite being very young, but they could follow that line and they could understand the devotion. That is why they are following the same way as Prabhuji was doing. He was regularly dressing the deities and Prabhuji is also going to the altar.
तो कुछ दिन पहले मैं पवन निताई प्रभु से मिल रहा था और उन्होंने मुझे कहा कि मैं ऑल्टर में जाता हूँ और भगवान का श्रृंगार करने के लिए जाता हूँ. तो अभी ये जो इतने कम उम्र में इन्होंने जो ये सेवा ग्रहण किए हैं और आइंद्र प्रभु स्वयं ही ऑल्टर में जाते थे और राधा श्याम सुंदर का श्रृंगार करते थे.
See, most of these devotees who are doing kirtan, they're fairly young. And they hold a responsibility that the kirtan should not stop for a minute. And it has to go 24 hours. So for us, whether we are sleeping or awake, but they hold a higher responsibility than us to make sure that the kirtan for the pleasure of the Lord is continuously going on.
तो जो भी 24 आवर्स कीर्तन में सेवा कर रहे हैं तो वो हमेशा उनका यही भावना रहता है कि 24 घंटा का जो अखंड कीर्तन है वो एक मिनट के लिए भी बंद नहीं हो. चाहे हम लोग विश्राम कर रहे हैं जो भी कर रहे हैं पर उनका ये दृष्टि रहता है कि अखंड कीर्तन अखंड रूप से चलता रहे.
And they have been successful in taking the guidance from Prabhuji and maintaining that in their own lives for so many years.
और उन्होंने सफलतापूर्वक इतने साल से कर भी रहे हैं और प्रभु जी का जो शिक्षाएं हैं आइंद्र प्रभु का उस हिसाब से 24 घंटे अखंड कीर्तन को बरकरार रखे हैं.
It's a great pleasure for me to understand the fact that these devotees, they hearing the scriptures and whatever the scriptures and enacted has said, these devotees are putting it in their own lives. And at the same time, they are giving the holy name to the whole world.
तो शास्त्रों के शिक्षाओं के माध्यम से पालन करते हुए अपने जीवन में भी उतारे हैं और बाकी पूरे दुनिया विश्व भर के जो भक्त लोग हैं उनको भी ये शिक्षा प्रदान कर रहे हैं.
It is so nice that these devotees are doing so nice kirtan. I go in the morning, I stay so many hours. I go in the evening also, I spend so many hours. And despite I am here for 31 years in India, but I definitely spend this much time in the kirtan myself.
तो मैं सुबह और शाम दोनों समय में जाके मंदिर में काफ़ी समय बिताता हूँ और अखंड कीर्तन श्रवण करता हूँ और 31 साल से मैं भारत में हूँ और मेरा ये सेवा है.
And I see that people from the different part of the world, they come here and they naturally participate in the kirtan. They are dancing, they are happy, they are not much bothered with what are the social etiquette. But they are part in the kirtan and they are spending time and dancing and they can feel and realize the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
तो विश्व भर के हर एक कोने से अलग अलग दर्शनार्थी लोग आते हैं हमारे मंदिर में और बहुत ही स्वाभाविक रूप में जैसे ही मंदिर में प्रवेश करते हैं कीर्तन करना शुरू करते हैं, नहीं तो नृत्य करना शुरू करते हैं।
I sit at the back, so it is more easy for me to see and to feel the pleasure that how these devotees are able to make the presence of the Lord felt in the heart of all these visitors.
तो मैं मंदिर में पीछे तरफ में बैठा रहता हूँ और पीछे बैठ के मैं देखता रहता हूँ कि जो भी दर्शनार्थी आ रहे हैं मंदिर में, उसके हृदय में किस तरह से परिवर्तन होता है हमारे अखंड कीर्तन के माध्यम से।
I am also very happy to mention this today, even though we are running this ISKCON Delhi for more than 25 years. So I had a direct talk with His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj. I asked him, Guru Maharaj, that the temple is running kirtan for so many hours and visitors are constantly coming to this temple. So we are not as fortunate as what all of you are doing here. So sometime we have to play some tape. So you please advise me which tape I can play.
तो परम पूज्य गोपाल कृष्ण महाराज से मैं दिल्ली में बात कर रहा था कि 25 साल से हम दिल्ली मंदिर चला रहे हैं और कितने सारे दर्शनार्थी आ रहे हैं, पर वृंदावन के जैसा नहीं है। और मैं महाराज को कहा कि मंदिर में कुछ टेप चलाने के लिए, तो महाराज ने पूछा कि कौन सा टेप चलाना है।
I asked him when we opened the temple. So Gopal Krishna Maharaj told me, apart from Srila Prabhupada tape, you can play Aindra Prabhu's tape.
तो जब ये दिल्ली मंदिर जब चालू हुआ था, उस टाइम में मैंने पूछा था महाराज को, तो महाराज ने कहा कि प्रभुपाद जी के कीर्तन को छोड़ के आइंद्र प्रभु का कीर्तन चला सकते हैं।
Maharaj himself had very great respect for Prabhuji.
महाराज का बहुत श्रद्धा था आइंद्र प्रभु के प्रति।
So, as I said to all of you, that this temple is such a beautiful temple. We have also the responsibility of directing the world. Things are going on very nicely under the direction of Mukunda Datta Prabhu, who is a deity worship, and with Govinda Prabhu, Pavanitai Prabhu, and all with the Kirtan team also.
तो इस मंदिर में हम कह सकते हैं कि जो अर्चा विग्रह की सेवा है मुकुंद दत्त प्रभु के निर्देशन में बहुत अच्छे से हो रहा है, और 24 घंटा का जो कीर्तन है पवन निताई प्रभु, गोविंद प्रभु, ऐसे अलग अलग भक्तों के माध्यम से अच्छे से चल रहा है।
This also has the support of so many of you who are here. Unfortunately, I don't know all of your name. But I am very happy to see that all of you are definitely helping to preach the message of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and delivering the people all over the world.
और इसमें आप सबका भी बहुत सहायता रहा है इस हरिनाम को प्रचार करने के लिए।
Finally, to conclude, we were so much in concern and in distress because of the fact that so many visitors are coming, and we will have to break this Gurukul building to accommodate more devotees with a new infrastructure.
तो अभी जैसे बहुत सारे दर्शनार्थी मंदिर में आ रहे हैं हर दिन, और उनके सेवा के लिए ये जो गुरुकुल बिल्डिंग है, ये आप जैसे देखे हैं ये टूटना शुरू हो गया है।
So we discussed among ourselves and we said that because Aindra Prabhu's room is there, and in due course of time the building will be broken, but it's still out of respect for Prabhuji, in the Goshala area we have a Samadhi area for a few of our important acharyas. In that place we will have a place for Aindra Prabhu out of respect for his wonderful services to ISKCON Vrindavan.
तो हम चर्चा किए हैं, और जैसे कि यहाँ पर आइंद्र प्रभु का कमरा है, तो उनके समाधि को हम स्थानांतरित करेंगे यहाँ से लेके गौशाला में जो वैष्णव समाधि एरिया है वहाँ पर।
It's not an easy task to get a place there, But because out of respect for his service, we will have some place for himself.
तो वहाँ पर स्थान प्राप्त करना आसान नहीं है, पर आइंद्र प्रभु का जो सेवा है और उनके प्रति श्रद्धा ज्ञापन करते हुए हम उनके समाधि को यहाँ से लेके उधर ट्रांसफर करेंगे.
Maintaining the line that Prabhuji had been part of ISKCON Vrindavan and today he is still part of ISKCON Vrindavan.
आइंद्र प्रभु हमारे इस्कॉन वृंदावन के ही परिवार के एक सदस्य हैं और वो आज भी हमारे बीच में उपस्थित हैं.
So I will stop here to, I've taken so much time. Please forget me. That this is going all over the world and I want to convey the message that Prabhuji has done such a wonderful service for the organization and is still doing it. Thank you very much. Panchakalpatarubhyasya kipasindubhya vachapatitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Aindra Prabhu ke.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Jai, Haribol. We will request His Grace Bhagavad Puran Prabhu to please come and say something.
Namam Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutam Vishnu Saswarupa Viram Vitam Sarvushyam Bhaktirantam Namam Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutam Shrimati Vasmasti Namaste Shri Param Brahma Rasa Brahmita Jam Sarvasasvasram Namam Vishnu Namaste Saraswati Hare Krishna. Reading from chapter 6 of this book here. The primary deities in Aindra's room on the center stage, Shishi Nitai Shachisuta, came to him as a result. The primary deities in Aindra's room on the center stage, Shishi Nitai Shachisuta, came to him as the result of a rescue mission, or as he put it, I stole them fair and square. Longtime Vrindavan resident Dinabandhu Prabhu and Pundarik Vidyanidhi Prabhu had the neem wood forms of Gauranitai, each standing about 150 centimeters tall, with one arm raised, made for the ISKCON Vrindavan book distribution and preaching bus to travel throughout North India, displayed in a rear glass enclosure. But during an outing one summer, the bus was in a crash. The driver passed away, and the bus was towed back to the lot behind the Gurukul building. The deities were still inside, unharmed by the accident, but they were just left there in the wreckage for days in the scorching summer heat. When Aindra saw that the deities had been abandoned, he reacted with anger, then concern. He gave them water with Bhuvaneshwar offered them food from the temple kitchen and performed arti. And when some days had passed without anyone else acting on their behalf, he decided to rescue them. So one night when everyone was fast asleep, he took them from the wreckage and brought them to his room. When eventually the bus was repaired and the book distributors finally noticed that the deities were missing, rumors led them to Aindra's room. "Give them back," they demanded. "Absolutely not," Aindra replied. "They belong to the book distribution party," they said. "Bring them back." Aindra furrowed his brow. "There is no way I will ever give them back to you heartless people. You left them out there in the sweltering heat and forgot about them. So forget about getting them back." As it turned out, the first time the bus went out again after it was repaired, it was again in a bad incident. This time falling off the road and rolling over and over down an incline. It was completely destroyed. And if the deities had been on it, they might not have survived. For the rest of his life, Aindra worshipped and cared for Nitai Shachisutta faithfully and with loving devotion. "Look at them," he'd say, "my golden Shachisutta and my buttercream Nitai. They're so beautiful. I just marvel when I see them." He consulted them regularly and received guidance from them both while awake and in his dreams. "If I were forced to make a choice between the two," he once said, referring to Shri Shri Shachisutta and Shri Shri Radha Shyam Sundar, "even though I dearly love Radha Shyam Sundar, and I would never have to make the choice, because I'm going to have two spiritual bodies, one in Gaura Lila and one in Krishna Lila. But if push came to shove and I were forced, I would get a tight handle on the feet of my Shachisutta." He lay behind them every night to rest, and in the end, he surrendered completely at their lotus feet. Shri Aindra Prabhu ki.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Haribo. We would request Dean Bandhu Prabhu, please say some words.
I didn't say anything. Hare Krishna. Sripad Kirtan Chandra Namananda Aindra Prabhu ki. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadandikam. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatrubhyascha kripasindu vaivata patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So, I really like the name Kirtan Chandra, because I just always remember that beautiful moon-like face behind her harmonium, chanting his heart out. Such a beautiful, innocent smile, just like the full moon. But you didn't dare that beautiful smile. If you played out of tune or out of beat or something, then it turned into a tiger growl. So I always remember that beautiful face of Aindra, just like the full moon. Kirtan Chandra. Namanandi, nobody relished the holy name like Aindra Prabhu did. He was fully absorbed day and night. And to a certain extent what he was saying this morning is it was a fact that we lost sight of the real purpose of we're the Hare Krishna movement, just like some people think we should go back to put on wigs and put on a dress. But I remember I went to New York City a few years ago. We went to Times Square. People were coming up to us and saying, "Oh, Hare Krishna," and they were asking questions about Krishna consciousness, And everywhere we go, we were just in Kashmir. It's all, Muslims, but everybody was very respectful to us. They saw us in Dodi and Kurta and Tilak, and they all said Hare Krishna to us. So it's the fact that we sort of lost sight for a little while about that we're the Hare Krishna movement. People, everybody knows us. We chant Hare Krishna. That's what the Hare Krishna movement is all about. So Aindra's, simply by sitting here in Vrindavan, he influenced the whole world. Now we see that there's so many kirtan festivals are going on. Even right now, somewhere there's a kirtan festival. I can't remember where. I saw it on Facebook. I can't remember where. But all these are a direct result of Aindra's emphasis on the Yuga Dharma. And we see people are having kirtan retreats and so many things like that. But retreat is not an end in itself. That's a tactic. When we're being defeated, then we retreat, we regroup, we get our forces together, and then we go back out and fight. So now, I have great appreciation for Ram Roy. He's taking Harinam back to the streets. Why retreat in some building somewhere? Take it back to the streets. Give everybody the holy name. That's the purpose of retreat. Is a tactic, but it's not an end in itself. We have to go back to the streets with Harinam Sankirtan. People, they love us when they see us chanting, and we went all over every corner of Kashmir and shouted out the holy names at the top of our lungs. Some people stopped us and said, "We're from Chandigarh. We live near your temple. Let's have kirtan." So right there, we just found a shady tree. We went under the tree. They were all jumping up and down. They took hands. They were just ordinary people. They just from Chandigarh. They just, close to the temple. They just wanted to chant and chant. So this is, all the effect of Aindra Prabhu's wonderful preaching. And Prabhuji was just talking about those Nitai Sachi Sutta. Actually, when I joined Krishna Balaram Mandir, we were in sort of desperate condition. Many devotees had been taken away. We won't talk about that, but anyway, even our Sankirtan van. So we made a Sankirtan van, and Pundarik Vidyanidhi, who has translated along with Bhumipati many of Bhaktivinoda's works, he went to a place called Bankura, where they make these nice deities, neem deities of Gornitai. He got them made for that bus. And we made the bus especially to have altar for them. And we traveled, all those deities have gone all over UP, MP, Rajasthan. Of course, now part of MP is, what do they call it now? Chhattisgarh. We even went there. We found in the Himalayas, we saw people in the Himalayas are very poor, the mountain people, but somehow they would see we didn't call them Sri Sri Nitai Sachi Sutta those days, but anyway, they would always give 5 or 10 rupees. We'd be down here on the plains where everybody has, so much money and everything, they give 1 or 2 rupees. Of course, now we don't even see 1 rupees. But I remember we took them up in the Himalayas, and they've been everywhere. And somehow they dragged me out of the van and put me on the hot seat as temple president, and somebody else took over, and we just heard Prabhuji just describe what happened after that. But I can't remember who was in charge. But anyway, I'm very happy that Aindra rescued them and named them Nitai Sachi Sutta. So we can we can see that Aindra Prabhu, wherever people are dancing and chanting the holy name, performing the Yuga Dharma, Aindra Prabhu is dancing in their hearts. And we think that Aindra is gone, but he's dancing in the hearts. Wherever the Yuga Dharma, Harinam Sankirtan is going on, Aindra Prabhu is there dancing within everyone's hearts. So we just want to emphasize that same message, that we have to take it back to the streets. This is a Yuga Dharma, chanting the holy name. So things have become completely crazy and upside down. There's threats of nuclear war. Everything's crazy. We have to go back and chant. I remember everything was crazy, and we started chanting, and things changed a little bit. So we need to change everything. And so in this, of course, this both happy and sad day, we know. We've just read how Aindra, at the very end, he took shelter of his Nitai Sachi Sutta, and he's with them. But for us, it's very sad. I miss seeing that wonderful moon-like face, so innocently and so absorbedly chanting the holy name every evening. This is great sadness for us, but it's also very happy that he's still here, because he keeps sending somehow this 24-hour kirtan and Sri Vrindavan Dham is going on and on and on, because Aindra Prabhu is there sending and inspiring people to come here. So on this holy day, we just pray for Aindra's mercy to give us a little taste for the holy name, and that we, all over the world, people that I've seen many places, they're reviving, not going back out in the streets and chanting. So let us take it beyond the retreats. That was a tactic. Now we have to go out to the streets and take Harinam to the streets. Sripad Aindra Prabhu ki jai. So many people want to talk, so I'll just leave it short and sweet like that. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Haribol. Now we would request Hare Grace Govinda Mataji to please come and speak few words.
Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. I'm not really prepared like big speech, but just simple. For me it was very inspiring to have association with Aindra Prabhu, and mainly because his great concern about Srila Prabhupada's mission. That's the life of the disciple, to accept the mission of the spiritual master like own life and soul. So that I see in practically every Prabhupada disciples, and Aindra Prabhu also. And especially these two aspects, like, Harinam Sankirtan and deity worship. He was very concerned, and because I'm related with him in deity worship, I know his great passion for Radhashema Sundar, of course Krishna Balaram Gauranitai, but because he was dressed in Radhashema Sundar, it was very inspiring to do service with him, because he always wanted the best for the deities. The flowers should be just freshly picked from the tree. Doesn't matter where you get them, you just get it and just give it to me. And the garland should be made in particular way, and the jewelry should be made with the best beads from New York that Ram Roy bring. And everything that he was doing in his service, that was with this love and passion, and always was like a festival for him to go on the altar and dress the deities. And for him, Shrimati Radharani, she was not, and Krishna was not just a cowherd boy, cowherd girl. No, Shrimati Radharani, she was Vrindavaneshwari. She deserved to have the longest garland, the best jewelry, the best flowers, the best worship. And he makes somehow look the deities in such a wonderful way. In beginning, I remember there was lots of decoration. Like there will be lots of bougainvillea one day, like whole kunj, and next day there will be these star flowers because it's rain, and there was so many around the temple, those little lilies, so you would see whole altar in decoration with the lilies. It was always very inspiring. Every time the altar opened, before the altar opened, it's just like expectation, what's going to happen today. And then, curtain open and you will see something special, something different, something beautiful. So he always have that mood of like alive, inspiration, and whoever worked with him, they were also inspired like that by him. So I very much appreciate that his association in this way. And very grateful to him that he always gave me this sense of also belonging and responsibility for Srila Prabhupada's mission. And especially his Sankirtana, not so much related with his Kirtan, but I know my son was going on for Kirtan 6:30 when he was coming in the afternoon, and he said, Aindra Prabhu told me to do so he was just doing that part, and he was very afraid of him, because if he do some wrong move with his voice, Aindra Prabhu would throw the karatals, and he said it's very painful. But so he was very responsible in his kirtan and his whatever he was doing. And at the end, before Aindra, he was not talking so much to the Mataji and all, but because I was doing service, he was very protective, very caring. Used to come to the area where we were making garlands and always inquire, do you need anything, there is any problem, He was always very concerned with the devotees from his, kirtan party. He was very caring, and I know that sense of love. I still feel that love that he had for devotees with whom he was doing service. And at the end, his dressing was not so maybe decorative. He was not coming for a long time. He was coming just shortly before the opening of the altar. But he was making the deity somehow very present, very alive, and very, very wonderful, very different and special. And especially I remember on festival day he used to dress with Mukunda Prabhu. So he was dressed in Shyama Sundar, and Mukunda Prabhu used to dress Rasararani. And that combination was also very, very beautiful. I have many photos that very amazing dress in always. The expression of the face is the way he would put that shas, and there was always something very, very unique. So that was great inspiration for us in developing our feeling for the deities. And I'm very grateful to him for his association and still being in our life. And just beg for his mercy, and especially his attachment to holy name. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. We would request His Grace Mukunda Datta Prabhu, please say a few words.
Hare Krishna. Garve Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tada Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Nama Eva Kevalam Kaulau Nasteva Gathiranyatam. His Grace Aindra Prabhu ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. So we are very fortunate to be assembled here in Braj Dham on this auspicious day of Hera Panchami. Of course, every day in Vrindavan is auspicious, and but according to Vaishnav calendar, in regards to Chaitanya Leela, Mahaprabhu's Leela in Jagannath Puri, and also in regards to Rath Yatra, today is a special festival known as Hera Panchami. So, and also this, so we are here celebrating or remembering His Grace Aindra Prabhu, and he left this world on this day. So also today is the disappearance day of Vakreshwar Pandit, an eternal associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was a great kirtaniya and dancer. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to dance in front of Jagannath, or every day, of course, Sankirtan was going on, Harinam Sankirtan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced the Yoga Dharma, the chanting of the holy names in Navadvip, but then he entered the sannyasa ashram in Katwa, then he stayed in Jagannath Puri, also by the desire, or she expressed his mother Sachimata that please you stay in Jagannath Puri so that we can get news about you, how you're doing. Because devotees, they used to go regularly from Navadvip to Puri and Puri to Navadvip. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so he spread Krishna consciousness all over Bharatvarsha. And so for 6 years he was traveling all over India, coming to Braj also. And but then in between returning to Puri. And the last 18 years he was fully absorbed in chanting the holy names. In the morning, chanting on a japmala or chanting on his fingers. So he had a cloth and making knots and chanting on the knots of the cloth the holy names, Sankhya Purvaka, in a regulated way. And so meeting the devotees, chanting the holy names during the day also. At night time he was discussing about Radha Krishna's pastimes with his intimate devotees Sarup Damodar and Rai Ramananda Roy. The devotees from Bengal and different parts of Bharatvarsha, they used to come for the occasion of Snan Yatra to Puri, and also observing Rath Yatra, which we just observed also a few days ago on the Dvitiya Tithi. And so then on the 5th day, so Hera Panchami festival is there. Yeah. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very much like to hear about this festival, and so I'm sure all of you are aware of, and as when Jagannath is in Gundicha temple, then Lakshmi Devi, because Jagannath is telling, I'm just coming, I'm just going for a little while to Gundicha temple, just like Krishna Braj saying, I'm just coming in a few days. But then the gopis and the gopas, everyone is waiting long time, waiting for Krishna to come back. So So actually, His Grace Aindra Prabhu, so we're supposed to speak about him, glorify him. But at the same time, so whenever we used to go and talk to him, so that was always about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, about Krishna's wonderful pastimes. So he was taking pleasure in that. So therefore, I felt we should also say a few words in regards to that. What is the essence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings, what he came to give. He came to establish the Yugadhamma, the chanting of the holy names, but specifically he came also to give Braj Bhav. Because so many people in India, they know the holy names, even the Mayavadis, those in South India who are worshipping Ramchandra or Vaikuntanath, Lakshmi, Narayan, they may all chant the Maha Mantra. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specifically, he gave the Maha Mantra with Braj Bhav because he's no different from Radha and Krishna. So therefore also during this festival also, although Lakshmi Devi is there, little angry mood trying to ask why Jagannath is still there and not coming back. So long past time, but in short, then Mahaprabhu also observed the festival, and then Shiva's Pandit was there and taking the side of Lakshmi Devi and glorifying Lakshmi and the queens of Krishna, who are embodiment also of, or they're also Lakshmi Devis. And then Swarupa Damodar taking the sides of the gopis. And they also, of course, actually goddesses of fortune, and Srimati Radharani, she is Mool Shakti, and she is the original form of all female consorts of the Lord. Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, Mool Roop, and Srimati Radharani is Mool Shakti, Mool Roop. And all the Lakshmi Devis, they are expansions of Srimati Radharani. So Swarupa Damodar glorified the gopis, and Shiva's Pandit glorified the queens, but then of course Swarupa Damodar was victorious in this transcendental debate. And so Aindra Prabhu, he used to talk mainly about the pastimes of Radha and Krishna in Braj. And so he was very learned in the literatures of the Goswamis, Prabhupada's books, but also the previous Acharya's books. And I was just reading one book by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Datta Kaustubh. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is explaining that knowledge was given to me by Krishna himself, and that is explaining about the Saragrahi Vaishnav, the devotees who understand the essence of the teachings of Mahaprabhu. And so His Grace Aindra Prabhu was also such a Saragrahi Vaishnav. He had understood the essence of the teachings of Mahaprabhu, the previous Acharyas, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, and our Srila Prabhupada. And so he was completely focused in Braj Bhav, and therefore he was also, when he was doing his seva of chanting the holy names, so he was able to inspire so many devotees because he had a Braj Bhav. And he was chanting with love and affection for the pleasure of the Lord. Similarly, also, he was dressing the deities in Braj Bhav, and therefore, as Govinda Mataji was just saying, so when he was dressing the deities, it was extremely beautiful. Because he was absorbed in Braj Bhav and remembering the associates of the Lord and how they are dressing Radha and Krishna. That is actually the proper way of serving the deities. That is the proper way of chanting the holy names. Amani namadana Krishna namasaralabe braje Radha Krishna seva manase karibe. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Raghunath Goswami, so you chant the holy names always in a humble state of mind and be respectful to all. Always chant the holy names. So that is one thing, to always chant the holy names, but then we should be absorbed in remembering Radha Krishna seva manase karibe, in consciousness. So of course by practice for many, many years. Then one is able, and in purified consciousness, one is able to remember Krishna, Nam, Roop, Guna, Lila. First we chant and hear, and then we pray, we serve, and then in this way, then by the mercy of the Lord, in purified consciousness, then so after Nam, Roop, then after Nam, Krishna Nam, then when Nam Nishta is there, and then Nam Ruchi, when Nam Ruchi is coming, taste for chanting the holy names, and then one can perceive sometimes the form of Krishna, and then Nam Ras can be there, then one can, in more advanced consciousness, one can even see the pastimes of the Lord. So His Grace Aindra Prabhu, so we understood by speaking to him, and I had, by good fortune, I had a very close association with him, right back from when we first met in New York, 1984. I was for a little while in New York. I just went for a visit, but I stayed almost 3 years, and so I had already there a close relationship with Aindra Prabhu, and then when he came here to Vrindavan, and I also came back to Vrindavan, that continued. So he was fully absorbed in that, so in chanting the holy names and in Krishna consciousness. So that was the speciality of Aindra Prabhu, that he was absorbed in Krishna consciousness, and that is actually the goal of life, to always remember Krishna and Krishna's associates. Krishna smaram janam chasya nija prishtam samitam tatta katar rachastasya kuryat vazam vrajasada. So he had Nam, so Nam Nishta, Nam Ruchi, Nam Ras, he was relishing, chanting the holy names in Krishna consciousness. And so he was absorbed in doing seva to his deities and to the deities in the temple. And he was inspiring all the devotees by speaking Krishna Katha. So he used to sometimes give class in the temple, and he was speaking for 3-4 hours easily, because he had taste for Krishna Katha, hearing Krishna Katha and speaking Krishna Katha, and then in spiritual consciousness, then Krishna will reveal himself, and then one can talk for hours about Krishna. So beginning, we may sometimes remember, but in pure consciousness, then Krishna, not only one can remember to some extent, but then Krishna will manifest. So Nam, Roop, Gun, Lila. So by talking to him, we could understand his exalted position. And then by seeing him also, chanting the holy names and addressing the deities. So he was a very exalted devotee, and so it is our good fortune to have had good association with him, a good relationship with him. And so we, on this day, of course, when he left, it was very shocking, but what to do by the Lord's will ultimately. So he had to go somewhere else to serve in other capacity. And but by remembering or by speaking about these great personalities, then we are connected to them. So therefore we observe these festivals of the appearance of the great devotees, or disappearance. Although disappearance sometimes it is not so easy when we remember the departure. At the same time, we understand that the great devotees, they are always, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to say also. So even when the great devotees, they live, so they leave this world, but then they go somewhere else and they continue with their service. So while living, they're spreading the holy names, always, and absorbed in Krishna consciousness. So Aindra Prabhu, a very good friend of mine, and also a Shiksha Guru, giving me wonderful guidance also, inspiration. So he was very much absorbed in Krishna consciousness. In Prabhupada's books and the books of the previous acharyas, especially also then in regards when one wants to come to the highest stage of pure devotional service, then the previous acharyas' books are there, which we may consult in the association of those who are more advanced, and then we can be absorbed, and then we can attain perfection. So perfection of life is to realize Krishna Sarup and to realize our transcendental form and our relationship with Krishna. So the advanced devotees, they can help us in this regard. So we always try to be in the association of the advanced devotees. And but even after leaving, we can pray to them. And so they are, just like Krishna is eternal, so Krishna's associates are eternal, the pure devotees are eternal. And if we pray to them, and then there will be reciprocation there by the transcendental arrangement. And then we can advance in our spiritual life. So we are fortunate to be here in Braj and to hear about Aindra Prabhu, to speak about him, and so the devotees, of course, they have also prepared some offerings, and we'll do Pushpanjali also, right? Pushpanjali is there. You have flower petals. You have some flower petals. And Artik. Yeah. So Aindra Prabhu, he was a very spontaneous person. And so the devotees who are on the spontaneous platform, they also following rules and regulations, but sometimes not so much. But still, just to set the example. So even, of course, the Acharyas and even Prabhupada and Raghunath Das Goswami was famous for following also the rules and regulations very strictly, just to impress upon the general mass of people that we have to follow the rules and regulations of this world, even of the state, and what to speak of bhakti, also known as Vaidhi Bhakti. But then we have to slowly but surely enter the platform of spontaneous love, known as Raganuga Bhakti, and then we can actually make advancement in terms of Braj Bhakti. Mahaprabhu has told in Chaitanya Charitamrita that without following the footsteps of the Braj Bhasis, without Ragamarg, we can never attain perfection in regards to attaining Brajendra Nanda and Shyama Sundar. So Aindra Prabhu was always speaking, so he was also following some rules and regulations, but he was very spontaneous, and he was mostly speaking about these topics of Raganuga Bhakti, so that devotees may also adopt that, or at least have some impression, so that in the future they may be able to enter into the realm of spontaneous love towards Krishna, and then afterwards, of course, Bhav Bhakti and the realized stage, and then there will be full exchange with Krishna, and then the transcendental nature is revealed of one's relationship with Krishna. So that is the goal of life, and he was trying to bring the devotees to a higher level, so which is absolutely required. And so another quality was his attachment to the holy Dham, and also trying to give that attachment to others, so that we should stay in the holy Dham and practice devotional service in the holy Dham, which is very beneficial for making advancement. So the 5 most important limbs of devotional service. Of course, first we have to take shelter of the spiritual master, and then chanting the holy names, which is most important, but then we have to hear about Krishna, because without sufficient hearing, we'll not be able to remember Krishna while chanting also. So Shravanam, first we hear, and then we speak, and then we can remember. So chanting the holy names is most important, but then we have to hear about Krishna, about Mahaprabhu, and we have to see the deities also, serve the deities. And then there will be reciprocation there, and then we can realize Krishna Sarup. Prabhupada used to say also Krishna Nam, or Krishna in the heart, Krishna in the deity form, and Krishna in Golok, they are non-different. So by serving the deities, that is very helpful actually, in realizing that Krishna Nam non-different. And so associating with the sadhus, especially those who are more advanced, especially the Bhavuk and Rasik Vaishnav, those who are absorbed in Braj Bhakti, so in their association it is more easy to advance also and get this Braj Bhav. So without the association of the Brij buses, those who have Braj Bhav, it is difficult to come to that platform. And then so staying in the Holy Dham, that is one of the most important limbs of devotional service. And he had so Dham Nishta, so faith in the Holy Dham, and he used to encourage the devotees to just stay in Braj and perform devotional service here for anyone. Of course, then we have to spread Krishna consciousness also, and therefore Prabhupada established so many temples. But then actually, if we have Braj Bhav, if we are staying in Braj for some time at least, and visit the holy places where Krishna performed his pastimes, then we can have the Braj Bhav. And then we can go anywhere and we can feel the presence of Braj. So Aindra Prabhu, he was definitely empowered by Krishna to chant the holy names and spread Krishna consciousness in his capacity, just in staying in Braj. And even it is mentioned in Uddhav, when Uddhav came to Braj and he glorified the gopis, Vandinanda Brajam Strinam Padarinam Abhikshnasa Yasam Hari Katud Gitam Punati Bhuvanatrayam. So offering respects to the gopis of Braj, taking the dust of the lotus feet and bathing himself with the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis. And in this saying, when the gopis are glorifying Krishna, that is purifying the three worlds. So the gopis, they were just here in Braj, serving Krishna, serving in the houses, taking care of the family members and the children, not their own children. The gopis who were with Krishna, they didn't have children, but children of the family, because joint family was there. And they didn't go out distributing books or doing Harinam or speaking to outside of Braj, but they just stayed in Braj. But because they are pure, they have pure love for Krishna, and amongst themselves they were discussing about Krishna, so that was purifying the three worlds. So the pure devotees like Gaur Kishore Das, Babaji Maharaj, they just stayed in Holy Dham and Aindra Prabhu, but their chanting actually is purifying the three worlds. And even we can see Aindra Prabhu, then he was chanting the holy names. It was so attractive to all the devotees who came here. The people from Delhi, they used to come and become attracted to his chanting in the evening when he used to come and chant from 6 to 7 especially, or 5:30 to 6:30. It was always full. Many people from Delhi attracted. And then because of his kirtan, of course it was recorded, and with the help of this modern amenities and the holy names, especially Aindra Prabhu's kirtan was going all over the world. And devotees became attracted to his kirtan. And so many devotees had met in different places, and they were so much attracted to Aindra Prabhu because of his pure chanting in Braj Bhav. So we are very fortunate to have had his association, and now the devotees who are in the 24-hour Kirtan group, they are continuing chanting the holy names as Aindra Prabhu was chanting the similar melodies, and they're trying also to have this Braj Bhav. And actually by his mercy and because of the devotees' endeavor, and because he attracted many devotees, actually we can see that the 24-hour Kirtan party is doing very well, and there are many devotees from the community who are chanting. We have a full house, right, in the ashram? Full house? Almost. Half. But still, I mean, throughout the day and night, devotees are chanting, right, the holy names, and it's very beautiful. So many devotees are there chanting, and because they have imbibed the mood of Aindra Prabhu, so therefore they're also able to attract the devotees. We can see Pavanitai Chandra Prabhu and then the two brothers here. They got initiated, I forgot your name. Before Sharad Bihari and Stoka Krishna, now is Sharad Bihari and Smita Krishna. Yeah, so they're chanting beautiful, and so many devotees are there chanting so beautiful, very attractive. So definitely by Prabhupada's, ultimately not only Aindra Prabhu's mercy, but Prabhupada's mercy, because Prabhupada, he first of all established the 24-hour Kirtan, but then it was not, there were not many devotees at that time, and then after some time it just stopped. But then Aindra Prabhu felt, no, we should have 24-hour kirtan. And that was Prabhupada's desire. And then on Ram Vijay Utsav, just before Kartik, on Dashami Tithi, then he started in 86, yeah, Prabhupada Centennial. So he started the 24-hour kirtan again, and it is going on since that time, non-stop. 24-hour chanting of the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we can see that even while the class is going on, the Srimad Bhagavatam class, which is of course also Kirtan, but Aindra Prabhu, he wanted the Maha Mantra 24 hours. Even so, Artik is there, Gaur Artik, and the devotees are singing. But he wanted the 24 hours of Maha Mantra. Therefore, some devotees are there. While the class is going on, still they're chanting, right? It's continued. Even during the Sandhya Artik, some devotees there chanting the holy names, Mangalatik also. So 24 hours, even night time, midnight when everyone is sleeping, the devotees are chanting. Of course, sometimes they also fall asleep. But you have 2 or 3 devotees at night, how many? 2. Okay. Somebody's checking if they're not sleeping? Somebody's checking or? It's on the radio, okay. Even Aindra Prabhu used to check at midnight if they're not sleeping, those who are doing kirtan. So because he wanted 24-hour kirtan, so naturally this is going on 24 hours since 1986. So this great achievement by Prabhupada's mercy and then Aindra Prabhu's endeavor, and then by the endeavor of all the devotees who are inspired by Aindra Prabhu. So we offer our most humble obeisances unto. But he was not only doing kirtan, but he was doing japa also, not to forget that. I remember in the beginning, sometime, he attracted many devotees from the younger generation, and they liked to chant with Aindra Prabhu in the kirtan, so ecstatic. But then they didn't have much taste for chanting japa. But then Aindra Prabhu, he was telling them, well, you have to chant japa also, very important. And he himself used to chant 1 lakh many times, sometimes even 2 lakhs. Only when he was very, very busy in the kirtan, or he was renovating the rooms or cleaning the bathrooms, sometimes he was not chanting 64, but he was trying to chant every day 64, especially then doing Chaturmas or Purushottam Mas. And I believe the year he left, it was also Purushottam Mas in the summer, and he was chanting 2 lakhs of the holy names, 2 times 64 rounds. So, yes, so we should try to have a taste for chanting the holy names in kirtan, but even we should try to have, in our individual japa, we should try to get a taste for chanting nice japa, namruchi in chanting japa. That is important also. So anyhow, so we are very fortunate to be here, so we pray to Aindra Prabhu that we can also come to the highest stage of pure devotional service, that we may attain Braj Bhakti, following the mood of the eternal associates of Radhesham, especially the associates of Srimati Radharani, Lalita Vishaka, Rupa Rati Manjari, and Aindra Prabhu had so much, of course, worshipping Gonita, his deities, and then Janavama, but he had special love and affection for Ananga Manjari, the younger sister of Srimati Radharani, who is a manifestation at the same time also Balaram. So he was in that mood of following Ananga Manjari, which is there in our Diksha Parampara also from Janavama. So that is actually the goal of life. As sadhakas, we follow our spiritual master Rupa Goswami, but then in more purified consciousness we have to follow the eternal associates, the gopis of Shivanti Rani, Lalita Vishaka, Ruparati Manjari and Ananga Manjari, and then we may attain perfection. Is Grace Aindra Prabhu okay? Srila Prabhupada ki? Sisi Nitai Sachisukta ki? Sisi Radha Shama Sundar ki? Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Jai Jai Sisi Radhe Sham. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hari Bol. Now we would request His Grace Aranya Vihari Prabhu to please come and speak few words. And we'll keep it short and small. And we would request later ashram devotees also to speak. Jai.
ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. So I'll try to quickly wrap. Srila Kaviraj Maharaj says, Tattva Vastu Krishna, Krishna Bhakti Prema Roop, Nama Sankirtana Sab Ananda Swaroop. The absolute truth is Krishna, and loving devotion to Shri Krishna exhibited in pure love is achieved through congregational chanting of the holy name, which is essence of all bliss. Thank you, Prabhu. So Aindra Prabhu, as we all know, that he is personification for, attachment to the holy name and of course Krishna. So we all know that his first experience of chanting, when he was told, he was given bead bag along with Bhagavad Gita. So he had almost like $3 in his pocket, and for $2 he had to buy Bhagavad Gita, and bead bag was also given to him. And then he was told, this is Mahamantra, you need to chant. And he had some previous, vague ideas of chanting, like, Om. So he went back his home and he started chanting Hare Krishna. And then he was wondering how these devotees chant 16 rounds, because he said, I fell asleep in the 16th mantra only. Yeah, so how could they chant 16 rounds? So for many days he tried to chant at least, complete one round. He could not. So on one Sunday feast he hitchhiked and he reached the temple. And he saw the devotees. He reached a little early before the Sunday feast started. So that time devotees were sitting and chanting. And when he noticed, oh, this is the way they are supposed to chant. So he went back, and that night he decided that, okay, I will try to chant at least 16 rounds in one go. And his absorption was so much in the first experience of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He just sat, started chanting, and the whole night his eyes were closed, and he chanted, and what opened his eyes was the sunrise. For the whole night he was just chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So that was his attachment. And then finally he left his wife and joined the temple. His wife, we all know that why he left his wife, because he said that, you also join the temple. She said, no, I don't want to go back home, back to Godhead yet. Why don't you also just join? You stay back. I want to enjoy with you. And he said that it was like, I'm a meat of a tigress. Something like that, he said. So he left home. He joined the temple. So the daily program was 8 to 10 hours going on the streets, doing Harinam Sankirtan, and parallelly distributing the books. So he was doing both. Sometimes book distribution, sometimes he was participating in Nam Sankirtan directly. So, even in his very initial phase of, experiencing the chanting of Mahamantra, experiencing Sankirtan, experiencing the bliss of book distribution, one night, after coming from the book distribution and the Kirtan, all the devotees had prasad. And after prasad, one Mataji came to him and she said that, you want to do some devotional service? He said, yeah, why not? So the service was to clean the temple hall. So the temple hall was cleaned, and after that, the devotees again congregated and they started doing Nam Sankirtan. And everybody was jumping, dancing, jumping. And he clearly mentioned that we danced so much that I had blisters on my feet. Because the whole day they were doing Nam Sankirtan, and in the temple also they were doing at night. And the same night, in such initial phase, he had a vision. It was not just a dream. He had a vision. He mentioned that it was a kind of half asleep and half woke up stage. And he saw, the word he uses, I could clearly saw it was a stampede. And stampede is there, and so many young boys are running, cows are running, buffaloes are running, goats are running, deers are there. So, and they are not of this world. There's very different experience he had. And suddenly they all came exactly above him, running, and the stampede is going above him, as if there is a glass, very hard glass on him, and he can see their their footsteps, they're running. And in between of that great big stampede, in the middle, there was Krishna Balram. And when he saw Krishna Balram, actually Krishna halted, Krishna stopped. And Krishna, and Aindra Prabhu mentioned that Krishna very mercifully looked at me, as if he was mentioning to me that why not to come to me within this lifetime, why you want to stay more. So then he was very convinced that this is the real thing. I don't want to leave this chanting ever. So after a few months or years, he was requested to get married by temple authorities, because many brahmacharis were getting married, and he pushed off. And then the temple management, or I don't know who, they actually really kind of pushed him to get married. And then he said, I'm already married to 11 wives. Why you want me to marry to another 12th one? So the person was shocked. 11 wives? Yeah, my 5 working senses, 5 knowledge attaining senses, and 12th is the queen of all. Who is that? My mind. So why you want me to get married again to another one, which is 12th? And then he said, just back off. I will not get married. And that was the time he actually lost motivation to stay in the temple. And then he moved out, and he started his own, he constructed his own small van, and he started doing Nam Sankirtan in the different part of New York City. So what he mentioned is that it was very difficult to get a sound permission from the police. So whenever police used to come or be around, he used to just reduce the volume and just very lighter kirtan. And as soon as police is away, so he used to again make the volume full. He said it was such a nice program. And slowly the police people also became his friend. And they allowed him to do the loud kirtans. And he did it for good 5 years. But just before that, he actually came to Vrindavan once. He came for 3 months. He stayed here for 3 months, and due to some reasons, he headed back to US, and then he performed this 5 years of non-stop Harinam Sankirtan. But he always used to say that since I went back to US from Vrindavan, I always used to remember Radhe Shyam Sundar, Krishna Balram, Vrindavan, different parts of Vrindavan. When first time I went to his room, I was talking to him. So I stayed for a few days, and then when I was going back, so the previous day I told him, Prabhuji, tomorrow morning I am going back to Delhi. So I said, Helly, smelly, Delhi, why you are going back? And then he said something wonderful. He said, if you are leaving Vrindavan, and if you don't have tears in your eyes, that means you never came to Vrindavan. So his attachment to Vrindavan actually brought him back to Vrindavan. And here we all know, because the biography is already out, every devotee has shared their memories, that how with lot of difficulties he used to call some Baba, some rickshawala, anybody who's around, just come here and play some kartal and I will sing. So he was even denied to purchase one mridanga from the temple budget for Sankirtan, for Nam Sankirtan. So that was the situation. So that's why he was mentioning in the video that we are distracted, we are deviated. But the main thing or the real thing is to perform Nam Sankirtan. So Aindra Prabhu is a personality that Bhuvaneshwar Prabhu used to say that he will do everything, not just 100%. He will do it himself 200% and then get convinced and then preach to others. Not before that. Oh, it's so cold. Thank you. आपने आचार्य केहा ना करे प्रचार, प्रचार करे ना केहा ना करे आचार. This is Sanatana Goswami saying to Srila Haridas Thakur that you are so perfect. Some devotees, they only do prachar or the preaching, but their acharan or their behavior is not perfect. But some people behave very nicely, but their personal sadhana is not so good. But you are perfect in both. So that's what Sripad Aindra Prabhu was or is. So his days, his kinds of, how the condemn, he used to condemn the material concept of life, a kind of distasteful. So when I told him that I'm getting married, Prabhu, and she's my would-be wife, he looked deep into my eyes and said, even a dog sees eyes of the she-dog as very beautiful. And then he turned to my wife and said to her that never let this rascal enjoy you. You are Krishna's property. You are meant to be enjoyed only by Krishna, nobody else. Take a stick, beat the shit out of him if he still tries to, but don't let him touch you. So that's how he was so, at times he was very, very heavy. The Shastras say, Kusumadapi komalam, Vajradapi kathoram. So he could be as fierce as a thunderbolt, but as soft as a flower. Flower, one thing I remember, I told this many times. Once I entered his room and he was worshipping his deities, and the flower seller came with a big, polythene bag and gave him flowers. And I'm talking at least 15 years before thing. So, and he charged him 500 rupees. Even today, if you buy 500 rupees flower, it's quite a size, huh? But that time for this much of flower to charge 500, and then I said, Prabhuji, may I pay? Then he thought a bit. He took the 500 rupee from me and put it on the lotus feet of Nitai Shashivasutta and gave another 500 note. I said, why? He said, because even the money should be first offered to Krishna and then utilized in Krishna's service. I said, okay. But then when the flower guy left, I said, Prabhuji, he's charging you a way high. He's very expensive. And he ignored. Then I said, Prabhuji, he's very expensive. Then he turned to me and said, much, much cheaper than going back home, back to Godhead, So he was he always used to say, some people are bharavahi and some people are saragrahi. So he actually attained a sar. Kalim sabhajyanti arya gunagya sar bhagina. He took the sar, he took the essence, that yaktra sankirtane naiva sarva swartho vilabhyate. Wherever there is a chanting of holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. You can get anything. He used to say, if you want material benefit, sit in Kirtan. If you want spiritual benefit, sit in Kirtan. If you want to attain Braja Prem, sit in Nam Sankirtan. So that's what Aindra Prabhu was always. And he was always, as I mentioned, he was very merciful also. When my daughter was born, so he very kindly allowed for at least 2 to 3 years or more, 3 or 4 years. Whenever I used to come, I used to take my toddler daughter to his room. Females were not allowed in ashram, but he kindly allowed, okay, she's a very small kid, you can bring. But when she was grown up, he denied actually. And he always used to say, just bring her up, I want to do some kuchiku. Lovingly. When I brought my son, he blessed him with his hand and then he said, making a firing kirtaniya. Otherwise there is no hope in the material world. So, Aindra Prabhu means absorption. He was always absorbed. So, if you are not paying attention in his kirtan, he will not tolerate. Okay? And in between kirtan, very gently, very softly, sometimes he used to say, Shuno, Shuno. You heard this? So, I don't know, he must have asked from some Bengali devotee, I think. Because Suno is Hindi and Shuno is Bengali. So he used to say, Shuno, Shuno. And while singing kirtan, if you are not paying attention or you are somewhere here and there, very lightly he used to say, pay attention closely, please. So that's how he used to, draw the attention of devotees. And still if somebody is, really lost or something, like Radhashtami 2008 or 9, I think 8, he very heavily says, because I remember that incident, one devotee was really, spaced out and he was not chanting. 2-3 times off the mic he said, just chant. But he was, I don't know where he was. Then he said, chant Hare Krishna or I'll kill you. And not just that, everybody was so extremely attentive after that, okay. And his vision was so pure that even if he's seeing young Matajis dancing or even Prabhuji's dancing, he used to say, so many gopis dancing in the rasa dance. You must have heard that, huh? And some are dancing and some are playing the musical instruments to make the thing happen. His typical style of saying things. Once I remember in front of now where there's a museum in front of Srila Prabhupada's Samadhi, so there used to be a kind of parikrama path and devotees used to let visitors to chant there. And there was at the, I don't know which festival it was, the Vishnu Puran serial was running on the big display. And there was a scene where Apsaras are dancing. And Aindra Prabhu was chanting and watching it. And as soon as the Apsara dancing came and it was skipped, Aindra Prabhu didn't like that. Hey, what? Why? No, Mata dancing. The devotee he didn't know English much. He said, Mata dancing, so not sing. He said, oh, you should see her as a gopi. Why just sing as a and she's meant for our enjoyment. She's meant for Krishna's enjoyment. Why don't you see her as a gopi? So that was his vision. Very, very elevated. So few times even I noticed, and I've heard from few other devotees, his taste for chanting holy name was so deep. He used to chant any time. So avyartha kalatvam, as 2-3 years before Pavanita Prabhu mentioned that shloka kshantir virtha kalatam. So Rupa Goswami mentions that how a devotee attains anubhav and then bhav. So the stages are given, or the symptoms are given. So one of the symptoms was avyartha kalatvam. So in my personal experience, I never saw Aindra Prabhu wasting even a single moment. He was just chanting. I never saw him gossiping or this or that. So even if devotees used to come and talk hither and thither and here and there things, he always used to bring back the discussion somehow to Krishna, So as September 11 attack happened, every devotee who was coming said, Twin Tower. And at one point he said, I don't want my Twin Tower, means Nitai Shachisuta, to be attacked by any of the terrorists. So that was his love for his deities, and that's how Krishna conscious he was, always. So many times I saw that he used to chant with his right hand, and his left hand used to be on the lotus feet of either Nitai or Shachisuta. Many times I noticed it. And he said, that's how they will give me their mercy. And lastly, because already 10 minutes, so Aindra Prabhu actually lived a life of the deep understanding of holy name. As Krishna himself mentions to Arjuna in Agni Puran. So Krishna says, Nanam sadrisham jnanam. So I'll just translate one line. So the rest of the translation you can easily understand. Nanam means, Nanam sadrisham means there is nothing equal or higher than holy name. So what is not? Even jnanam. Nanam sadrisham vratam. Nanam sadrisham dhyanam. Nanam sadrisham phalam. Nanam sadrisha tyagi. Nanam sadrishah shamah. Nanam sadrisham punyam. Nanam sadrishah gati. Naam eva param mukti. Naam eva param gati. Naam eva param shanti. Naam eva param sthiti. Naam eva param bhakti. Naam eva paramam gati. Naam eva paramam priti. Naam eva paramam smriti. Naam eva karanam jantor. Naam eva paramam prabhur evacha. Naam eva param aradhyo. Naam eva param guru. Kimcha naam yuktam janam drishtva snigdho bhavati yo narah. Sa yati paramam sthanam Vishnu sah modate. Tasmat namani konteya bhajasva dhrida manasa. Naam yukta priya asmakam. Naam yukta bhava Arjuna. For these reasons, Arjuna, you should always worship my holy names. Chant my holy names and become friends with they who chant my holy names. So it's our duty to become friends with all 24-hour Kirtan devotees, you know. Gatva cha mama namani rudanti mama sannidho tesham aham parikirto na anyokrito janardana. He purchases me who calls out my names. There is no other price to purchase me. Evam shrutva cha mama namani ityadi. The Lord says, He purchases me who hears my holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Sripad Aindra Prabhu ki jai. Okay. You sent me? Okay. So I've been asked to read His Grace Govinda Prabhu's offering. Dear Aindra Prabhu, please be kind and accept my humble attempts to serve you in my own meager ways. I have long ways to go. It's only you who keeps me going. Please chastise my dull brain. I need to hear your words. Your voice touching my heart make me forget everything, giving me newly born determination. I remember how you never accepted personal worship or service from us, your juniors. What to speak of your seniors? You simply did not think it was appropriate since you thought yourself unfit. Witnessing many fallen prey to puja, pratishtha and lobha, it was refreshing to see someone different. It was always ecstatic to score some little seva. Menial things like buying vegetables, sweets for your puja or helping you cleaning the bathrooms. I saw you washing the bathrooms with acid, cleaning up stool and urine after the brahmacharis. By that, you unpretentiously exhibited that you walked the talk. It wasn't just empty words to impress. It was who you are. When offered to wash your clothes and similar things you could not accept, you said, it is just not me. You were brutally honest. For you, it just could not be any other way. That level of purity gave you mantra siddhi, as reconfirmed by an astrologer. Your words were perfection, your kirtan mystical and otherworldly, taking us to consciousness of a genuine Brajvasi. It was true Shabda Brahma. You were heavy like a thunderbolt, and thunderbolt precisely striking our ego exactly where it needed to be. The nectar of instruction displayed with an unstoppable force, and after drying up our tears and accepting that devastating thunderbolt, followed your warm heart like the friendly rays of sun shining after the storm. I needed that tough love to win me over my doggedly obstinate nature. No wonder that in this Kali Yuga culture of some of them want to use you, some of them want to be used by you, we turn into cynical hedonists. Sinners give up all hope and meaning personal relationship while hiding in the impersonal fog. You unapologetically cut through all our excuses and kicked us in the butt with your lotus feet. You shocked us, you shaked us up, and you have left us no place to hide from your pure realized Bhakti Shakti. Please keep slapping this dull person. You have given Harinam Sankirtan mission to the real Sumedasa devotees, the true cause to fight for, to live and die for. The you saved me by being real. Again and again, I hear your words, be real. By being real, you won me over and I fell in love with you for life. Your special voice paired with your real Radhe Shyam, Nitai Shachi Sutta and Srila Prabhupada consciousness would deeply penetrate my heart. Srila Prabhupada said that any sincere person reads his books has no chance but to surrender to Krishna. Hearing your voice would do the same. I remember one evening dancing ecstatically in Gaur Arti Kirtan, and you suddenly showed up with a beaming happy smile on your innocent face, joining in the bliss with arms raised. You said you saw me dancing and got inspired spontaneously. It made me realize how humble and ordinary you think you are. None of the senior devotee air around you, just an average Joe, rank and file devotees who likes to chant and dance like one of the new bhaktas. You kept conquering me, and conquering me is not easy. But once you do, I am yours and you are mine for life. Nay, not for this life, but Chakshudan dilo jai, janme janme Prabhu say. On your side, I feel ready to against the whole world. All I need is you at the other end. Your servant, Govinda Das. Hare Krishna. Sankirtanacharya Shripad Aindra Prabhu ki.
Yeah, I would request devotees to please come forward. I see many devotees standing behind. Please, move forward so they can sit behind. Please, move forward. Jai. And now we have Her Grace Mahadevi Mataji's offering. Jai Prabhu, can you clear?
All glories to our Vrindavan Lords, and all glories to all of you, the assembled Vaishnavas. Haribo! So last year, when we were glorifying Aindra Prabhu, I had offered a few memories, and one in particular I forgot, and it's a very incredible pastime of our dear Aindra Prabhu. It was during the years when Aindra Prabhu was doing the midnight kirtan to welcome the new year. And it was just so amazing, just even remembering it, I'm getting goosebumps. And we would all go in, it was very mystical, the lights were low, and Aindra Prabhu, he would develop like this crescendo. He would start out kind of slow, and everybody would be in that mood, and then he would slowly, you know how he does it, slowly, and everyone was just riveted and absorbed in the holy name. And I would always remember how when Prabhupada started chanting in Tompkins Square Park back in New York, he would develop a mood, like for hours, Brahmananda says that he would keep with the same tune. It was about going into the holy name. It was about just immersing yourself in the sounds of the holy name. So when I think of Aindra Prabhu, and especially those midnight kirtans, I just remember getting really immersed and like waiting for the new year in our beautiful, wonderful home of Vrindavan, and another year to serve Prabhupada's mission. And here was Aindra Prabhu bringing us all into that meditation. So the story is that I would come over at about 9:30 at night. Usually Aindra Prabhu would start about 9. And I happened to notice, I think it was about 10 p.m., I happened to notice about 7 guests from the MVT guest house, and they were all dressed to go party in, Agra. So they had on really, like, the ladies had on tight, black, shiny pants, and the men were all dressed, with all kinds of party clothes on, and they were smoking cigarettes, and they were talking Italian, and they were all ready to go. And I said, there's a big party going on over at the temple. Would you like to come with me and, maybe check it out? And then you can go on to Agra after you, check out this party. So they said, why not, and so they were all discussing in Italian. I couldn't understand them, but they were all in agreement. So they all followed me over. There was about 7 of them. And so we came in the Radhe Shyam side. I'll never forget this. And so they very tentatively were kind of like, how when you're new to something, you kind of like stay in a little small group with whoever your friends are. And so they were all like around the railing there in front of Radhe Shyam. So I was just gently, one of the girls I kind of related to, and kind of gently move them forward so they could kind of get in the not the middle, but how if you're on the outside, it's just like if you're on the outside of the honey, it's hard to really taste it, but you want to get more on the inside, like all of you beautiful 24-hour kirtan boys. By the way, we'll just stop this little pastime as all the Maha rose petals fall from the sky on all the 24-hour kirtan boys. Haribo! So these 7 Italian devotees, they were right there, and they started tapping their fingers on the railing. They started moving about. I mean, you can't help it. If you're in an Aindra Kirtan, you just can't help but move. And they were looking at each other. And then I showed them the sign, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra sign. And you know how when people first start out, you know, Hare Krishna, Rama Krishna, Hari Hari, and they were trying to get it. And what was so amazing to me, and I've seen it many times before, that once they graduated to, you know, actually getting it, then they were able to turn around and just focus on Aindra and the Kirtaniyas, and they had learned it, you know, they were really proud of themselves once they had learned the Maha Mantra. Some of them didn't get it so quickly, but I was expecting them to leave. I thought they would just come and get a taste of the honey and then, you know, put the lid back on and then go walk back out. But they stayed. They stayed all the way till midnight, when Aindra is just exploding and all the kirtaniers are exploding, and there's just like this explosion of Nam all over the temple, and you can almost feel Prabhupada tapping his toes from the Vyasasana, the Tamal tree is swaying, Tulsi swaying, and everybody, just that look on their face of total immersion into one of Aindra Prabhu's kirtans. And so they stayed all the way to midnight, and then some, to like 12:30 or so. And I was just like exhausted, you know, I have to get up early for the morning program. And I was like, okay, I got to go back home. And thank you, Krishna, for letting me enter another new year here in Vrindavan. And I felt so grateful to Prabhupada. I felt so grateful to Prabhupada, to our Lords, to all of you, that we get this very sacred opportunity to share the holy names of Krishna with whoever comes into the temple. And Aindra Prabhu was such an empowered leader of giving that taste of the holy name to whomever, from wherever, whenever. And I'm very grateful to Aindra Prabhu for his friendship. We had a kind of a funny friendship. And I'm very grateful that those 7 Italians, who knows what happened to them after they left, but they'll never, ever, ever forget that kirtan from Aindra Prabhu. Haribo!
Jai. Thank you to Mataji for her offering. Now we have one of the last e-offering, His Grace Gopal Prabhu. He sent a video offering for Aindra Prabhu. And now we'll play it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Panchakopatrubhyasya kripasindubhyevcha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Maritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. So today we are celebrating Aindra Prabhu's 13th disappearance day. He would have been about 70 years old in 2023, but he left us at the age of 57. Interesting thing I want to Hare Krishna. Panchakopatrubhyasya kripasindubhyevcha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Maritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. So today we are celebrating Aindra Prabhu's 13th disappearance day. He would have been about 70 years old in 2023, but he left us at the age of 57. Interesting thing I wanted to share with all the devotees, this is a picture of Aindra Prabhu. You can see clearly. My daughter drew this for me on my birthday, so that can give you an indication of the impact Aindra Prabhu has had in my life. For my birthday present, I get a drawing of Aindra Prabhu. So Aindra Prabhu, please accept my humble dandavats at your 24 years of selfless service in Sri Vrindavan Dham by the performance of the Yugadama Harinam Sankirtan. Kali Yuga's most fortunate blessing upon us. Of course, and that we also have Srimad Bhagavatam, which is considered non-different from Lord Krishna in this age of Kali. During your time with us here, especially in Sri Krishna Balaram Mandir, your re-establishment of the 24-hour Kirtan affected the whole world. I would say even beyond the world of ISKCON devotees, and the world of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, your commitment and dedication to the 24-hour Kirtan and its re-establishment has left a legacy. Especially now, so many pilgrims are visiting Vrindavan, cannot even get in the temple room. You cannot even get into Vrindavan. When I plan a trip to Vrindavan, I try to plan somewhere around Tuesday or Wednesday. I have to check it's not an Ekadasi or a full moon. I have to make sure I'm arriving late at night or early morning, otherwise you cannot even get in the vehicle. It's not possible. You'll have to get out your vehicle and walk with your bags. That's how busy Vrindavan has become, 365 days a year. And I would say that's all glories to Aindra Prabhu's pure chanting in Krishna Balaram Mandir. And of course, Srila Prabhupada establishing Krishna Balaram Mandir, which the local people call Angrez Mandir. Recently, while visiting Vrindavan, some pilgrims approached the kirtan and said, "Fast karo, fast karo." Like they want to go fast. Joldi karo, fast. I'm like, what? We used to do these nice 2-tal beats, very heartfelt, melodic kirtans, but now the pilgrims, they just want to chant and dance. Why? Because Angrez Mandir or Krishna Balaram Mandir, ISKCON Mandir, Vrindavan has become known for life. And life means chanting and dancing in Sankirtan. Very simple. And the pilgrims really get a blissful experience from that. Aindra Prabhu set a very strict life of a renunciate, not a false, fake renunciate, a very true renounced disciple of Srila Prabhupada, living in the Brahmachari ashram of Krishna Balaram Mandir in room number 89. He never left that room. He sometimes would have to go to Delhi for some work to do with his visa or some commitments to His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, but he never left that room until I got him to Mayapur. And then of course he stayed with me in my room, which I'm very fortunate and blessed to have had his association. I observed in the years I was with Aindra Prabhu, many years, his practice of Nava Anga Bhakti, the 9 limbs of devotional service, Pancha Anga Bhakti, was completed always with the expression of Harinam Sankirtan. On the weekends, he would do Shringar Seva, or dress Radha Shyamasundar, and then after completing his service, he would sit in front of their lordships and chant Sankirtan. Sometimes after Bhagavatam class, he would chant for even up to an hour. And he would say that Nava Anga Bhakti is completed by the performance of Sankirtan. I have so many beautiful memories of Aindra Prabhu, and it's difficult to find out the most memorable. So many. So many kirtans every day for many years and years. In sickness or in health, Aindra Prabhu did his service with money or no money, with men or no man, he was committed to performing the Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan for richer or for poorer until his death and departure from this mortal world. He gave himself unconditionally to the Yuga Dharma and the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. He was not interested in name, fame, profit, adoration, and distinction. He was only interested in chanting the pure name, Shuddhanam, for the pleasure of Guru Gauranga, Lord Chaitanya, and his beloved deities, and Sri Sri Radha Shyama Sundar. Seeing the decline of the Yuga Dharma in ISKCON, he spoke up about it, he wrote a book about it, and most importantly, the last 2 chapters of that book, he expressed his heartfelt personal relationship with their lordships. I'm proud to say that the 24-hour Kirtan has expanded its capacity, more men, more facilities, and still, by the blessing of Aindra Prabhu, the department is carrying on, and 24-hour Kirtan has not stopped. Your close confidant and friend Ram Roy Prabhu has been pushing the Yuga Dharma in New York City since the time of your departure, and it's only going from strength to strength. You personally said that if you had to leave Vrindavan, that you would go to New York City, because Srila Prabhupada considered it the most important place in the world to preach. And Ram Roy Prabhu is now, and his team, acting out and being your instrument in this respect. On this day of Hira Panchami, when Lakshmi Devi comes out of the Sri Mandir in Jagannath Puri, she tries to enter Gundicha, and Lord Jagannath's Pandas close the door on her, and they don't allow her in. And she's sent back to Sri Mandir, which represents Vaikuntha. She could not enter Sri Vrindavan Dham. But somehow you, on this day, got the great blessing to enter the Boma Leelas of Lord Krishna in Boma Vrindavan. And the great good fortune you got of leaving your body on this day is that you didn't have to go through disease and old age. You were very young, considered very young at that time to leave your body, 57 years old only. But from the first conversation I remember having with you in 1997, it was very clear you wanted to go back home, back to Goloka Vrindavan. And you got your blessing. As tragic and difficult as it is for us to lose your association, your heartfelt desire to go back home to Godhead had been achieved, leaving your body in Sri Vrindavan Dham. No time to waste, don't delay. I remember you used to say, no time to waste, don't delay, making appointments for the holy name today. Go out and do Sankirtan Yagya. I do remember one story. I'd returned from Sridhar Mayapur after we had performed Kirtan there for a week. I would stay on for the Mayapur festival. You had come back early with the team, and I was approached by Ram Roy Prabhu saying that Aindra Prabhu has been invited to New York to attend the festival there. And so then Govinda told me the same thing, and then Bhagavad Prana told me the same thing. I had a very long conversation with you about it, and you told me, go to America and preach on my behalf. I'm very happy to see many of your dedicated followers are doing the same and spreading the Yuga Dharma in Kali Yuga. All glories to Aindra Prabhu's departure, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and the 24-hour Kirtan. Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
पापा यहाँ से अपना प्लॉट शुरू होता है मैं आपको लेआउट दिखाता हूँ ये आपका रूम और ये साथ में बैल्कनी और इस मिट्टी
Thank you, Gopal. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Gopal Prabhu, for his offering. Now we would request Her Grace Padmavati Mataji to say a few words. And we would keep the offering like short and quick so we can squeeze few more devotees before we can conclude the offering session, and then we can move to Pushpanjali. Hare Krishna.
Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyananganachalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yana Tasmai Shigaraya Namaha. Yes, some devotees ask me to speak. Actually, I'm very shy to speak in front of so many devotees. But some devotees was asking me to tell something because I'm living in Vrindavan for a long time and I had some association with Aindra Prabhu. And during the more like 10 years, every day I saw him in the temple. I met him in the pujari room because I'm also doing seva. Hare Krishna. For deities in deity department, and we had actually so much association with Aindra Prabhu, and I miss so much association with him. Because that time I was so shy him, actually. Aindra Prabhu for me it was very sublime, very special. And I always was so shy to talk to him. And with some others, sometimes I was coming in touch with him because the last few years when Aindra Prabhu was here, I was making this bouquet, these flowers for Radharani Shimasundar hand and Lalita Vishaka. And Aindra Prabhu very often was asking us to bring some flower for decorations. And sometimes he was asking some particular flowers. I remember one time he was asking the champa, and it was not the seasons. I was running everywhere to looking for this champa. Nowhere, no any champa, and I was so sad what to do because I want to fulfill his desire to bring champa. And the morning time, the Mataji said to me, "You bring to Aindra Prabhu these flowers." And I said, "Oh, I didn't get the champa." And she said, "I can draw the champa. I'm the artist." And I said, "Okay, you draw." And I gave her the piece of the paper. She drew the 3 big champas, very beautiful champas. And I put in the basket, which we was usually bringing to Aindra Prabhu with flowers. I put on the bag this picture with champa, and I brought to the pujari room. I gave to to Aindra Prabhu, and he saw and he said, "What is this?" And I said, "I made this innocent, looks like innocent smile." And I said, "Champa," he was asking for champa. And he was looking at me like this, and then he turned to the pujari and she thinks she's very clever. And I was so shy. I said, "Why I did this? Why I did this? He will be angry with me." But Aindra Prabhu was looking, and then he said, "Oh, maybe it's good, some substitute, at least some substitute." And he went, and I was thinking, why I did this? I was thinking, he will be. And then when Ditis was open, I saw this picture was on the feet of Radharani. He put on the feet of Radharani. And that Mataji was so happy. And we had just sometimes like this pastimes with Aindra Prabhu.
And I'm always was looking how he dressing the deities. I liked so much his style, and I'm missing so much this his dancing style. Who remember how Aindra Prabhu was dressing the deities, this dancing style, especially in winter time, all these shadows. It was so wonderful. I'm missing so much his style and his smile. Always he was smile. And every day it was kirtan from 6 to 7. Aindra Prabhu was doing kirtan, and after kirtan, there's so many devotees, so many people was around him. And 2-3 hours he was preaching. You know, that way to go to Brahmachari ashram, you know, on the right side of the temple in Brahmachari ashram. He was for a few hours, he was preaching because so many people was surrounded him. And I was coming like 7 o'clock. Aindra Prabhu was standing near the temple and preaching, so many people around. And then I come in for last darshan at 8:30. Aindra Prabhu moved for a few meters more and he is standing preaching. And then after last darshan, I see Aindra Prabhu standing on the steps and to the ashram and preaching. He was preaching, you know, full of transcendental knowledge. So much transcendental law was coming from him. And I had the very special opportunity to hear him when he was writing his book. My god sister, Leela Shravani, Aindra Prabhu was asking her to draw the picture for this. You remember that picture? I'm calling it double shade. You know, Gaura Leela and Krishna Leela. It's not came to the book, but she was drawing this picture, and she was taking me to Aindra Prabhu to discuss about this. And I was so astonished when I was hearing how many details, how many things he knows about Radharani, what Radharani likes, how she's standing, how she's sitting, how she Masundar. And I remember he told, because she brought already, she drew the picture, she brought, and he said, this gopi, she cannot sit like this. This is not her nature. You know, he knows so many details about it. He was so absorbed in the Leelas. And that time I was, you know, very shy to ask him many questions. Sometimes I was asking a little bit. And then I was I was missing so much opportunity to have an association with him. And he always was joking with me sometimes. I remember he was given the kirtan evening time from 9 o'clock. And I was never going there because it's too late. But one day Mataji said to me, let's go, there is so nice kirtan, there is so big nectar. And she took me, and I was sitting on the back, before me some Mataji, big Mataji, and I was sitting just hidden, you know, from Aindra Prabhu. And when kirtan finished, he always was distributing Mahaprasadam from his deities to the devotees. And he started to distribute, he said, everybody come in and take some sweets from my deities, Mahaprasadam from my deities. And everybody came, and I said, I was thinking, I will not go, I'm shy. And I was sitting like this hidden, and then Aindra Prabhu turned to one Prabhu and he said, "You take and give that Mataji, she's trying to be hidden from me." And I always was, shy when he was joking like this. There's so many scenes was actually, one time he was given, I was teaching in the Gurukul that time, he was given class in the Gurukul. And the class was starting at 10 o'clock and I had the class, I was teaching that time and I was thinking, oh, I'm missing Aindra Prabhu class, I love so much his classes. And after class I was thinking maybe he's still giving, but they asked me to come for some another class, and then they asked me to bring the boys for the prasadam, and it was like about 2 o'clock, and I was think, oh, I missed the Aindra Prabhu class. And then one Mataji said, oh, let's go to Aindra Prabhu class. He's still giving class. It was like more like 4 hours. And we came, and Aindra Prabhu was sitting, the long time he was giving class. He was a little bit tired. And he said, can I sit like this? A little bit like, he said, I don't know what is this, half sitting or half lying. And he was sitting like this, he put his hand like this, and he was continuing to tell about difference between Gopi's mood and Manjari's mood. And in this pause, he was speaking so nice, and I was sitting, I was thinking, he's so transcendental, for his position, how he's sitting, what he's doing. He was full of this nectar, he was full of nectar, he was preaching. And Aindra Prabhu, for me, is like one of the perfect Prabhupada disciples, because he fulfilled the Prabhupada desire to have 24-hour kirtan in Vrindavan. The Prabhupada wants so much this, but it's not so easy to do this, to organize, and Aindra Prabhu did it, and now the followers of Aindra Prabhu, they carry so nice, and we have so many devotees, so many exalted devotees, so many Maharajas. They inspire me so much. My Guru Maharaj inspiring me so much to preach everywhere, and so many another Maharajas, so many devotees. And Aindra Prabhu was very, very special for me. Very, very special. I remember when he left, the first time we was doing this katha about Aindra Prabhu, and everybody was sitting and crying, just crying. Just crying and crying. Thank you so much, Aindra Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you so much, Mataji. Now we would request Her Grace Purnima Mataji to please say a few words.
Hare Krishna. Guru Gaura Chandraya Shiradhikaya Tadaya Krishna Krishna Bhaktaya Namo. Whatever I say, I try to say something about Aindra Prabhu, but if there is something not good, don't take it. When I got married with my husband in '89, before that, we would see Aindra Prabhu, but not so much because I was in Gurukul, we were in Gurukul. But then my husband became a pujari, And then I start noticing Aindra Prabhu more. And then after some time, we would go in the pujari room and get some flowers from Goshala, from here and there, like Padmavati just mentioned also. We would go and look for the flowers, because Aindra Prabhu and my husband, whenever they were dressing together, they wanted flowers, especially Aindra Prabhu. So we would go to Goshala, especially. And in that time, there were many snakes there. So we would always have to be very careful that no snakes coming. But still, morning 5 o'clock, we were going there to get the flowers. And then he would come out with the effulgence, Radhesham's effulgence behind. And he would tell us how to put flowers in there. So we had to put flowers in the effulgence, standing over there. And sometimes he would come, he would like it. Sometimes he would say, no, this is not the right way. You should do like this, like this. And every day we had to do that for him. And he was very happy to see that everything is very nicely decorated. And also the flowers for the decoration for the retist. We would collect different kinds of flower, whatever we were getting, bougainvillea or the star flowers, or sometimes we got from Goshala also something else. So, like this, we were helping in our flower seva. And I had a good fortune actually to go to his room also when I got married with my husband. Few times I went in the beginning, because in the beginning there were not so many devotees going to him. So I was allowed to go with my husband. Not single Matajis were not going, but I was allowed. So I was very fortunate to go to his room, and he would just talk. He would talk and talk and talk, and we would listen. And a few times I was asking questions, he would ask questions, my husband. But he was the one who was talking. And then we did a lot of service for, not for him, but for Radhesham with him. And he was very nice in dressing Shyamasundar. He was good in Radharani also, but Shyamasundar, he was like exquisite dressing he was doing. And it was like Govinda was mentioning, they had a very nice combination, my husband dressing Radharani and Aindra Prabhu dressing Shyamasundar. Whenever we would wait for Saturday and Sunday. They were usually doing it Saturday and Sunday. And that was the beautiful time. And a few times I asked him a few questions and he answered me. One thing I really liked in him was his classes. He was giving so beautiful classes and full of information and full of bhav, and he would inspire you to, you also want that. I want that. I also want that. So he would sit in the temple room, he would start the class at 9 o'clock, and then 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. But he would tell the devotees, if someone wants to go for prasadam, they can go. But many devotees would be just sitting there and listening to him. And almost all the time, his classes would go till 12 o'clock, till Aarti would start. Then he would stop, because then it was not possible for him to speak. But he was like, it's amazing classes he was giving. And it inspired me also to go towards that little bit. And we try also for that. One time I was, after Chandan Yatra, actually just before he left, after Chandan Yatra, he came out of the altar and he was taking darshan and I was standing there. And then he came to me, he said, don't they look so beautiful? I said, yes, they do look very, very beautiful. He said, but look at Shyamasundar. He looks like a chocolate. I feel like taking a bite in. I said, okay, Prabhu. I don't really see him in chocolate, but you may be doing that. That was really, could see his mood. He was so absorbed. He used to come to our house also for Govardhan Puja, our Govardhan Puja, do kirtan. And when we were asking him for prasadam, he said, no, he has to do his puja still and this and that. But please make a big plate of bhoga for my Nitai Sachisuta. So we used to make a big plate of bhoga for his deities. And this was also our service for his deities. And flower outfit also, when we started making in the beginning, then when he didn't really see, but he just asked me how we're going to do that. So I told him how we're going to do it. But before, in the beginning, it was very difficult. Now they're making nice flower outfits, you know. But in the beginning, we had to take the glue with this Fevicol and stick the flowers with those Fevicols. It was always wet and heavy. And he was always asking how they can wear such a heavy outfit. And I said, Prabhu, it's just not possible to do it without, you know, we cannot stick the flowers. And anyway, he was not so happy, but he was doing it. And he always appreciated everybody's service, no matter what it was. He was very appreciative. And sometimes, even if you were making some mistake in some things, he would always come and tell us nicely. You know, not like this, Mataji, you should do like this. Yes, Prabhu. And in this way, he was, we were getting a lot of association. And then his kirtans. I remember we used to go, not whole day, I was not going to any kirtan in the evening, 6:30 or 6 or 6:30, he was doing kirtan for 1 hour, half an hour. We would all sit around and have kirtan there. But after some time, of course, I stopped going because it was too much crowded then around him also. It was just not possible to go close to the kirtan group. Because if you're not there, then it's not, you cannot see him then. If you cannot see him, then you cannot really relish that, because the whole thing was to see him chanting and how he was chanting, and then you get inspired. But you know, sitting behind the pillar, it was not the same thing. And too many people started coming. So I stopped going then. But his kirtan, my daughter grew up with his kirtan. She loved his kirtan so much, and she was very small at that time. She just wanted always to hear his kirtan. So when we were together staying in one room, she wouldn't let me put any other kirtan. Only Aindra's kirtan. Only Aindra's kirtan. No other kirtan was allowed in our room. So I'm very grateful to him, and I pray to him on this day that we can also have a little bit of that mood, what he had, and maybe by his mercy we can reach somewhere. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Now we would request people from ashram, and then Vishaka Mataji, you can conclude the offering in the end. Please, Istoka Krishna Prabhu. He asked like you come first. Jai.
Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Sripad Aindra Prabhu ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. I haven't been very fortunate to have any personal association with Aindra Prabhu. But I've been fortunate enough to have association with devotees who have had his association. And so by hearing from them about him, and by hearing his lectures, by hearing his kirtans, I've been fortunate to have association with his Vani, with his instructions. And there are many devotees who are very sincerely following in the footsteps of Sripad Aindra Prabhu. And it's one thing to be a follower, to call ourselves a follower of Aindra Prabhu by singing his melodies, and sometimes we might try to imitate his eccentric nature. But a true follower and a perfect follower is someone who really imbibes the mood that Aindra Prabhu is trying to give us, and that he himself had, and really try to follow his instructions. In the same way that he was a perfect follower and a perfect disciple to Srila Prabhupada. Even though he himself didn't have much personal association with Srila Prabhupada, but he was able to touch the heart of Srila Prabhupada to an extent that Srila Prabhupada revealed himself to him and empowered him to perform such miraculous feats that are not possible for any ordinary person. So we should really try to be a perfect follower in that line, really preaching to myself here. I was recently reading from the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The 8th chapter is about Dhruva Maharaj, and there in one of the purports, Srila Prabhupada speaks about how Dhruva Maharaj, at one point of his tapasya, he controlled his breathing and he blocked all the holes of his body. And because he was so powerful, because he was so much connected to the Supreme Lord, by his control of his breathing, the entire universe was not able to breathe. And so then Srila Prabhupada goes on to say that in the same way, the pure devotee is so powerful that by his practice of devotional service, of pure devotional service, and by his practice of Krishna consciousness, he is able to infect the entire universe with Krishna consciousness. And this is what Aindra Prabhu did. He sat in Vrindavan Dham, in the Krishna Balaram Mandir, in front of the deities, and he just chanted, but he chanted so purely and so sincerely that now all over the world, maybe even the universe, who knows, we're having Kirtan Melas, we're having Kirtan programs, we have so many Harinam parties. Ram Roy Prabhu is doing such an amazing Harinam in New York. And all over the world, people are chanting and dancing just because of this one pure devotee that really chanted so sincerely and so purely. So, I'm very, very far from being this perfect follower of Aindra Prabhu. And so I am begging from the lotus feet of Aindra Prabhu and the lotus feet of all the devotees to please bless me and be merciful unto me so that I may serve in a way that's pleasing to Aindra Prabhu and in a way that's pleasing to Radhesham. Aindra Prabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Now we'd request Sharad Bihari Prabhu, please say a few words and then we can invite a few more devotees to squeeze in and then conclude.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Dinam Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachayane Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschati Deshtaini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasani Gaurabhak Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. It is said that on the appearance and disappearance day of a great Vaishnava, it is very auspicious to glorify and remember and seek the blessings and mercy of such a Acharya. But out of these two, the disappearance day is considered to be more auspicious because on the disappearance day, the true mercy of the devotee is revealed to this world. The true glory is revealed to this world, and is revealed by his activities in this world, his writings, his book, his kirtan, his lectures, his service, the memories that many devotees who were close to him, close to Aindra Prabhu had, and his deities, Shishinitai Sajisuta, that Aindra Prabhu has left for us. So in this way, even though he is physically not present, Sripad Aindra Prabhu is showering a flow of mercy unto this world. Whether we know it or not, that flow of mercy is there. The Bhagavatam mentions that by the rising and setting of the sun is decreasing the life of every living entity except for that of a devotee. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also says the devotee never dies, he lives in his sound. I personally have not had much association with Aindra Prabhu, but still he is a very integral part of my life. Because of him, many of the boys in a 24-hour kirtan have come to Vrindavan have decided to take this 24-hour kirtan and make it their life and soul. It is because of him, on the strength of the service to him, that we are able to reside here in such a holy place. I don't think I'm qualified to reside in such a holy place, but it is on the strength of the service to the 24-hour kirtan. So in this way, Aindra Prabhu is impacting many people's lives, changing their lives, changing their hearts, even though he is personally not present. On the other hand, the Bhagavatam mentions that Bilevato Urukrama Vikraman Yena Shinvata Kata Pute Narasya Jivasati Nandarikeva Sutana Chopagayati Virgaya Gata, that those whose ears and tongues are not engaged in Krishna Katha, they are not engaged in chanting the holy names, they are not engaged in discussing Krishna's pastimes, their tongues is like the tongue of a frog, and their ear holes are like the holes of a snake, and their body, even though it's living, is actually dead. So even though they are living, they are dead. Sometimes people like to refer to Aindra Prabhu as being very eccentric, but we should also remember that he was very much in line with Srila Prabhupada's teachings. He was very much connected, even though Srila Prabhupada only mentioned one Jai. He said Jai to him when he was doing kirtan. That was his only interaction with Srila Prabhupada. But still he had a lot of association with Srila Prabhupada in his dreams, and in that way received many instructions. And by making each and every one of those instructions his life and soul, he was always connected with Srila Prabhupada. So it is very wrong to think that what Aindra Prabhu gave us is something different or something separate than what Prabhupada gave us. No, he was very much in line with Srila Prabhupada's teachings. And under his instructions, he established this 24-hour kirtan, which is the heart of the Krishna Balaram temple. His Holiness Karamakanana Swami once said that this 24-hour kirtan is the heart of all the kirtan that's happening around the world. There are many kirtan festivals, kirtan programs happening around the world, but this is the heart of all of that. And somebody mentioned to him that, well, you can call it whatever you like. There are many branches of kirtan. This is one branch, and there's another branch in America, and another branch in Europe. And Maharaj said, no, you don't call it whatever you like. This is the heart of all the kirtan happening around the world. He said, if this one dies, everything else dies. So, on this day, I would like to express my gratitude to Srila Aindra Prabhu and seek his blessings and mercy.
Jai, thank you so much, Sharad Prabhu. Now we will request Kartik Tyagi Prabhu, please say a few words. Keep it short. Hare Krishna.
Sripad Aindra Prabhu ki. So ever since Gurukul, we had the tradition of celebrating Aindra Prabhu's appearance and disappearance day. But then gradually all of us realize what we are doing doesn't make sense until unless we really become authentic with ourselves. So I was just, because I was out of Vrindavan for last couple of days, and I was planning to come here, so I was thinking what kind of ray of hope has Aindra Prabhu acted for all of us. And then there's an example in Ramcharitmanas when Hanumanji, he visits Lanka. He's finding where his mother Sita. He goes to Ravana's palace and then to Kumkarna's, and then he doesn't find her anywhere. And then eventually he sees a palace. At the front door, Jai Shri Ram is inscribed. And then he goes inside, and then he sees a plant of tulsi. So he understands, oh, this is a house of a Vaishnava. So there, at that spot, as soon as Vibhishan sees Hanumanji, he says, Binu Hari Kripa Mile Nahi Santa. Without the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord, one can never come in contact with a true sadhu. So that way, I feel just all of us are extremely merciful, and particularly myself. I don't know where I would have been if it wouldn't be for Aindra Prabhu. Krishna's mercy is really causeless in every which way. Like literally there is no cause. That's why it's causeless. So his causeless mercy was such that Aindra Prabhu came, and his association is such. Majority of us who are present here in the ashram today did not get any association from Aindra Prabhu. But still, just by listening to him, we are able to understand who he truly was. Few days back, we were also discussing how recently people are just trying to get up, like they understand the externalities of Aindra Prabhu too much. So sometimes people also think, oh, that was the time when Aindra Prabhu had come and he chanted the holy name, and now is not the time. Like imagining just in 2010 that was the time. But it is the same Harinam that even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted, that Aindra Prabhu chanted, and that all of us are chanting in Sri Sri Krishna Balram Mandir. So just like that, it's whoever has the time, please do come and take part in Harinam Sankirtan. Just 2 more minutes. Another point, again I'll quote from Sri Ramcharitmanas. When Lord Ram is going to meet Sabri Mata, he meets her, and then he tells her the 9 processes of devotional service. Like in Bhagavatam, we have how Prahlad Maharaj has instructed the 9 processes of devotional service. Even Lord Ram instructed the 9 processes of devotional service to Sabri Mata. The first step, he says, is Prathama Bhakti Santan Kar Sangha. The first step is to associate with devotees and then gradually hear them. The very interesting point is he revisits this point of association with devotees, but with so much more profundity and depth. In the 7th step again, he says, Satav sammohi majag dekha mote adhik sant kari lekha, means to see me in every part and parcel of this universe, of this creation, and to give more regards to a saint or to a sant. So if we see from that perspective, it becomes so much easier to understand that our Guru Tattva is actually just non-different than Krishna himself. Because Krishna eternally existed, Radhesham has always been there, but it is Krishna, it is through Aindra Prabhu that we are able to get in touch with them. So, whatever Aindra Prabhu has said to us, that is not different than what Gaura Hari has said in one way. So that way is just a humble request. What I have personally started feeling is, in life, in a spiritual life, once we start giving up things which are not favorable for our bhakti, things just become easier more quickly. And then what Aindra Prabhu, who he was in his entirety, not about his externality, but about who he was internally, that becomes very much easier to understand. So thank you so much, Aindra Prabhu, and thank you to all the wonderful devotees who are coming to the 24-hour Kirtan and in some way or the other giving us encouragement through their words or actions to take up this Harinam Sankirtan process and not just do it externally but internally. Hare Krishna. Shripad Aindra Prabhu ki.
Okay, thank you so much, Karthik Prabhu. Now we would request His Grace Pavan Nitai Prabhu, please say a few words and keep it short. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Hare Krishna. Firstly, I'm very sorry for the time. The board says Prashadam at 2:30. Now it's 2:40, and we have to do Pushpanjali and Arati. So please forgive us for our tardiness. I don't want to say much because, like Prabhu's said, that we haven't had any association externally with Aindra Prabhu. We were too late. But at the same time, they also said so nicely how we do have association through Vani, through his lectures, through his kirtans, and through the kirtan right now, as Karthik nicely pointed out, that the Harinam that we're chanting is the same Harinam that he's chanting, and that's the same Harinam that Lord Chaitanya is chanting, and Nija Sarva Shaktis, all the Shaktis are in this Harinam. So in one sense, we don't feel that we've missed out, because he left something really wonderful for us. He left many things for us. He left the 24-hour kirtan. He left 3,000 shalagrams. He left Nitai Sajisuta. And it's such a place of shelter. And yes, we can understand him by reading his book, or which we have back there, just a little sales pitch, and also by hearing his lectures and hearing his kirtan. But my personal experience is that if you really want to know Aindra Prabhu, then you have to read Prabhupada's books. And I thought of something which I want to read. It's just a small paragraph from Krishna book. Because, you might see Aindra Prabhu and externally he looks very different. He's very scruffy, he's dressing a little differently, he looks completely out of the crowd. So some people tend to think that, oh, here's someone who's not really following, the ISKCON standard, or he's not really following Prabhupada. Or I've even heard, unfortunately, even in recent times, some devotees say that, oh, he's not following Prabhupada, he's just speaking something different. So one of the most controversial things that he ever did was that 2009 offering, right? In Prabhupada's Disappearance Day. So here's a paragraph from Krishna book, just to show you that he is following Prabhupada 100%. This is the chapter of the Brahmana's wives being delivered. And here, this is the Brahmanas speaking. So we all know the pastime. The Brahmanas rejected the boys because they're Brahmanas. And the wives, being simple-hearted, were able to, reciprocate with the boys very nicely. And they fed them in a very nice way. So then the Brahmanas, they realized that, what was the use of our Brahminical culture? And this is the Brahmanas speaking. To hell with our being born Brahmanas. To hell with our learning all the Vedic literatures. To hell with our performing great sacrifices and observing all the rules and regulations. To hell with our family. To hell with our expert service and performing the rituals exactly according to the descriptions of the scriptures. To hell with it all. For we have not developed transcendental loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is beyond the speculation of the mind, body, and senses. So this definitely reminds us of something. If you want to know, you can find it on YouTube. But the point I'm trying to get across is that he is completely a follower of Prabhupada. And I went through his book, and there's one section which I thought was brilliant. He says, who cares who the next Ravana of mismanagement is? Perfect management is in Vaikuntha anyway. And I thought, wow, what a personality. How can he think of these things? And then I hear a room conversation with our Srila Prabhupada, where they are complaining to him about one temple president who was here. And Prabhupada laughingly says in Hindi, he says, Jo Lanka mein aayega, wo Ravan ban jayega. Whoever comes to Lanka will become Ravana. So here's a person. We got Aindra Prabhu. We're very lucky. But Aindra Prabhu didn't get an Aindra Prabhu. Aindra Prabhu just had Srila Prabhupada. So his whole existence was based on Srila Prabhupada's books. And you go through his book, you go through whatever he's speaking, he is verbatim quoting Srila Prabhupada so much, so often, as it is. You know, there's this, that we saw this video, maybe the last appearance or the last disappearance, where he's speaking, the video is called Speaking About Srimati Radharani. And he says that don't try to approach Krishna, just take the flower and put it in the hand of Radharani. And he speaks for a good 3 or 4 minutes. It is the same, like the words are the same words that Prabhupada spoke in a Radhashtami lecture, you know? And so if you really want to know Aindra Prabhu, if you really want to know who he is, all you have to do is read the Bhaktivedanta purports. And by reading those purports, practically speaking, you can be with him, because this is not some mundane knowledge. You know, we're not just getting some gyan to get liberation. This is Prabhupada's heart, you know, and it's not even Prabhupada's heart, because where is this to hell with coming from anyway? It's coming from Srimad Bhagavatam, drig, drig, drig. It's Sanskrit verses. You can go back. And so it's Parikshit Maharaj's words. You know, it's Shukadev Goswami's words. So the point is that it gets even more sweeter. It gets even more better. I was just hearing, I was just hearing that Radharani, she sings a specific rag. There's 8.4 million rags. And when she sings a rag, it is so enchanting that her friend, Lalita Sakhi, hears this rag, for example, Bhairavi, and she thinks, wow, how amazing is this? And she thinks, oh, I want to learn this also, you know? And then she learns it from her, but when she sings it, then there is added flavor, because she is, you know, naturally changing it just a little bit. So the base is still Radharani's, but it just slightly changes a little bit, and it becomes unique, and the rag's name changes, you know. And Krishna hears this, and he enjoys it even a little bit more, still remembering Radharani, because she's the one who made this anyway, you know. And then when Lalita sings it, then Rupa Manjari hears it, and when she hears it, she thinks, wow, this is so amazing, you know. And then she sings it, but then when she sings it, then it ever so slightly changes a little again, just slightly, but still keeping the base together, you know. So when Krishna hears it, he remembers Radharani. So our Aindra Prabhu is a perfect representation of Srila Prabhupada. He's added a little bit of his flavor. You know, the way he may speak or the way he may conduct himself might be a little, you know, attractive to some and maybe a bit too harsh for others. But you have to look at the substance. What is he presenting? What is he saying? You know, it's not anything different to what we have in our Bhaktivedanta purports. And you have to read Prabhupada's books. You have to hear Prabhupada, and by doing that, then you can understand who Aindra Prabhu is. And when you understand him on this platform, then you can understand all of his activities. Everything clicks. Everything makes sense, you know. And then you can feel separation. It's interesting, you know. We've never met Aindra Prabhu, all of us ashram boys, you know, and the new devotees that are here. But we feel some kind of separation from him, and it's quite wild. Krishna consciousness is so interesting. You can feel separation from something you never externally had any connection with. But from this, then, you know, the Guru teaches you how to love Krishna. Gaur Govinda Maharaj, he says that the Guru's final lesson for the disciple is that he leaves his body. And when he leaves his body, then it teaches the disciple how to really serve. In the presence, in the external presence of the Guru, we may be just doing so that we can get his appreciative words, so that we can be recognized in a public place, you know. But when the Guru is not present, then nobody's watching externally, you know. So then it's based on complete sincerity, you know. It's based on genuinely being real, which is what we heard in Govinda Prabhu's offering, you know, that be real. And that's, on the appearance day, we had Yashomati Mataji. She gave such a nice heartfelt offering. And in that, she said that Aindra Prabhu dared to be himself, which was so nice. It's real, you know, and that's why he's so attractive. We can try to imitate him. We can try to, you know, copy him in this way or that way. But no one is attractive by trying to copy someone else. We're all individually unique, and we all have a individual relationship with Krishna, which is different to every other relationship that everyone else has with Krishna. And Krishna consciousness is so nice that as you chant, your specific relationship that you have and no one else has starts to flourish. And why is there a need to try and imitate someone else? You know, we always stay true to ourselves, we stay sincere, and then you can experience, you know, the association of these personalities. It's not just the exchange of two stool bags, you know, smiling at each other. I mean, these things are obviously there. It's not that I'm not disregarding it entirely, but it's because, you know, I never had it, so I have to make some kind of justification. But it's not, the higher principle is Gauravani. Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatharine. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, his form is Gauravani. You know, Prabhupada preached this Gauravani in the West, and Aindra Prabhu is not speaking anything different. This is the only thing that will stay. Everything else will go. Even Aindra Prabhu's room, which we were so fortunate to take shelter of for so many years, such a special place. He practically achieved all perfection in those four walls. And even that room is going to go, you know. So we have to get attached to Gauravani. We have to get attached to the instructions. And that's the most important thing that they leave behind for us. Anyway, I'll stop speaking. Baba Kamal Prabhu is here, and he said he has a nice short thing to say, to share with everyone. And then we have Prabhu, who speaks Russian. His English is not so good. Maybe we can have Vishaka Mataji translate for him, and then maybe you could speak a little, and we could stop there, because it's I think it'll be almost 3 by then. So yes, please, Father Kamal Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Sripada Aindra Prabhu ki. I have so many memories with Aindra Prabhu, but I will share with you just when he left this world 3 days before. I had dream with him like near 2005 and 6, but I never tell him. But like 13th of July, I think, after the Kirtan, I don't know why, just this is Krishna planning, or just my mood said, you have to say this dream to him. Then I went to him and said, Prabhu, I had dream with you. He said, okay, what I'm doing there? I said, I saw this is like Chaturmas time, and you have beard, and you are like running very, just like running very, very strongly near Yamuna, and all trees are like like cave, and there is a full moon, and he's like very, very shining, like golden, like with beard. And he was like running very fast. Then I just came from inside the tree and just grabbed his hand. And he said, where are you going? He said, I'm going to join Rasa Yatra. I'm going to join Rasa Yatras. Then I said, okay, but why you so much like? He said, because they are waiting for me. I need to go on time, just like that. He said, then he said, can I go with you? He said, no, you are not capable for this. Then he just like this and he ran. And after 3 days, he left this world. So I have so many stories more about him, but this is maybe next time on our Parents' Day or like that. Hare Krishna.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Shimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamne Namaste Sarasвати Devi Gauravani Прачарини Нирушеши Шунивади Пашти Тядышта. Спасибо большое за возможность сказать что-то. Простите, что я не могу говорить на английском.
Thank you so much for the opportunity for speaking.
На самом деле преданные уже сегодня все сказали, то, что я хотел сказать. Каждый по чуть-чуть.
Everyone already said everything I was going to say, little by little.
Да, я очень благодарен Аиндре Прабху, поэтому все-таки я скажу.
I'm very grateful to Aindra Prabhu, so I will say something.
В России моим основным служением было проповедь и распространение книг.
In Russia, my main service was book distribution and preaching.
И мой духовный учитель очень, в общем, он сказал нам, что мы должны проповедовать именно молодежи и именно парням.
My spiritual master said that we have to preach to the youth, especially to the male.
Потому что, на самом деле, Прабхупада делал так. Он проповедовал молодежи, он привлекал молодежь. Потому что, если есть молодые люди, то есть жизнь какая-то, есть движение.
This is what Srila Prabhupada did. He was attracting the youth. He was preaching to the youth, because if there is a youth, then there is a life.
И после того, как Прабхупада ушел, сейчас проповедь, разная проповедь есть, и не всегда привлекается молодежь. В основном привлекается не молодежь, как я заметил.
After Srila Prabhupada left, I'm noticing that preaching is going on, but main people are getting attracted, but not so much youth.
И есть одна история короткая. Аиндра Прабху увидел сон, где Шачисута говорил ему что-то на русском языке.
There is a short story where Aindra Prabhu saw in his dream Sachisuta was speaking to him in Russian.
И Аиндра Прабху смотрел на его лицо прекрасное. Он сказал: и как ты хочешь, чтобы я тебя понял?
And Aindra Prabhu was looking at his beautiful face and he was saying, and what do you think, how am I supposed to understand you?
И когда Аиндра Прабху проснулся, он подумал, что бы это могло значить.
And when Aindra Prabhu woke up, he was thinking, what would that mean?
И через несколько дней в Ашрам приехал первый русский преданный, в Ашрам 24-часовой.
And in a couple of days, one Russian devotee joined the ashram.
И с тех времен до сих пор много русских преданных в Ашраме. Не было такого времени, чтобы не было русских.
And since then, there is so many Russian devotees that are in the ashram.
И на самом деле преданные со всего мира приезжают, из России, Европы, Америки, Африки. Даже сейчас все преданные из разных континентов есть в нашем ашраме.
And from so many continents, so many devotees are in the ashram.
И я хотел сказать то, что Прабхупада, он проповедовал молодежи. Но когда эта молодежь выросла, появилось новое поколение. То есть у преданных рождаются дети, и появляется новое поколение преданных.
Srila Prabhupada was preaching to the youth, but then the other generation would be coming.
И хотя дети преданных рождаются в семье преданных, это не значит, что они рождаются Махабхагаватам. Я сам из семьи преданных, но я далеко не Махабхагаватам.
Even though there are people born in a devotee families, that doesn't mean that they are Mahabhagavatas. I'm myself born in a devotee family, and I can't consider myself Mahabhagavatam.
Да, но по милости Аиндры Прабху, у нас есть все шансы стать Махабхагаватами.
But by the mercy of Aindra Prabhu, we have all chances to become Mahabhagavatas.
Потому что по милости Шрила Прабхупада и Аиндра Прабху дали нам возможность приехать в самое святое место во всей Вселенной и заниматься самой важной деятельностью во всей Вселенной.
By the mercy of Aindra Prabhu and Srila Prabhupada, we have opportunity to come to here in the center of universe and have these opportunities.
И Аиндра Прабху говорил, что самая лучшая проповедь — это если мы будем повторять Шуданам.
Aindra Prabhu said that the best preaching if we are chanting Shudanam.
То есть проповедь не имеет смысла, если мы не повторяем Шуданам.
There is no, preaching will not make any sense if we don't chant Shudanam.
Но лично у меня, до того, как я приехал во Вриндаван, у меня даже мысли такой не было, что ну вот я когда-то в скором времени могу начать повторять Шуданам. Я даже не думал об этом много.
But speaking about myself before coming here, I never could think that I would be chanting Shudanam.
Если бы я хотя бы повторял Намабхас в этой жизни, я бы уже был счастлив. Я думал раньше так.
I was thinking before, like, at least if I could have chanted Namabhas, I would be happy about it.
Но и Аиндра Прабху говорил, что если мы повторяем Намапарадху, максимум, что мы это решим проблему пустых желудков.
Nama Aparat?
Yes.
Aindra Prabhu was saying if we are chanting Nama Aparat, the maximum thing we can achieve is the problem of the empty stomach.
То есть Намапарадха, она может принести какой-то бхукти, материальные блага.
Nama Aparat can bring the bhukti, some material gain.
Намабхас может освободить от греховных реакций.
Namabhas can clear you out from some sinful reactions.
Да, и только Намапарадха может дать бхакти. Только Шуданам может дать бхакти.
And only Shudanam can give you bhakti.
Да, и знаете, и это не значит, что если мы сейчас не повторяем Шуданам, то мы не должны петь киртан в храме. То есть если кто-то из нас не повторяет Шуданам, это не значит, что он не должен петь киртан в храме.
And it doesn't mean that if one of us is not chanting Shudanam, we shouldn't be chanting at the temple.
Потому что Джагадананда Пандит, спутник Господа Чайтаньи, есть книга его «Према Виварта».
Jagadananda Pandit, Mahaprabhu's associate, he has a book, Prema Nivarta.
Да, и он пишет там, что если преданный в сердце принимает, что Кришна – это Верховный Господь, и что Его имя не отлично от Него самого, тогда и даже повторяя Намапарадху, он не совершает оскорбления в полном смысле этого слова.
If a devotee is accepting the... Повторите первую часть, пожалуйста.
Если преданный в сердце принимает, что Кришна – это Верховный Господь, и что Его имя не отлично от Него самого.
If the devotee in his heart is accepting that Krishna is non-different than His holy name,
да, то он, повторяя Намапарадху, он не совершает оскорбления в полном смысле этого слова.
by chanting Nama Aparat, he's not committing any offense.
Но какой критерий, что я повторяю Шуданам? То есть Намапарадха, она приносит бхукти.
Nama Aparat is bringing bhukti.
Да, но если я воспеваю Святое Имя, и бхукти не приходит, это не значит, что я повторяю Шуданам.
And if I'm chanting and it's not bringing bhukti, it doesn't mean that I'm chanting Shudanam.
Правильный критерий того, что мы на правильном пути, что мы повторяем чисто Святое Имя или хотя бы стремимся к этому, это вкус к остальным ангам бхакти тоже увеличивается.
The main criteria of that we're chanting, it's the attachment to the other angas.
Да, потому что Аиндра Прабху, он практиковал все анги, в особенности 5 могущественных анг.
Aindra Prabhu was practicing all the angas, especially the most powerful ones.
И он говорил, что Шуданам, что Намабаджан – это главная наша анга.
He was saying that Namabhajan is our main anga.
И чтобы Намабаджан обрел форму, нам нужен Бхагават Шраван.
Что?
Чтобы Намабаджан обрел форму, нужен Бхагават Шраван.
So the Namabhaja would get the form. We need a
Бхагават Шраван.
Bhagavad Shravan.
Yes. И чтобы Намабаджан обрел силу, нам нужен Дамавас, то есть проживание в святом месте.
And so that Namabhaja would have a power, we need a Dhammavas.
И чтобы у нас было вдохновение совершать Намабаджан, нам нужна Саду Санга.
And to have inspiration, to have a Dhammavas, we need a Sadhu Sangha.
Да, и чтобы поклонение божеству, Шримурти Сева, нужно для того, чтобы оценить сладость имени личности, чье имя мы воспеваем.
And in order to understand the sweetness of the holy name, we need to worship the deities.
И повторяя последнее.
It's the last one.
В Харе Кришне Махамантре это Индра Прабху сказал. Все, что я говорил сейчас, это Индра Прабху сказал.
Everything that I said, it was what Aindra Prabhu said.
В Харе Кришне Махамантре скрыто имя Радхи. То есть там есть имя Кришны, но имя Радхи, оно скрыто.
In Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Srimati Radharani's name is there.
И
It's hidden in there.
И когда мы воспеваем имя Радхи, Кришна доволен. И когда мы воспеваем имя Кришны, Шримати Радharani доволен.
When we speak Srimati Radharani's name, Krishna is pleased. When we chant Krishna's name, Radharani is pleased.
И также я хотел сказать, что когда я слушаю Аиндру Прабху, моя благодарность Шриле Прабхупаде, она увеличивается намного. И моя преданность Шриле Прабхупаде, она увеличивается в разы, когда я слушаю Аиндру Прабху.
And whenever I hear Aindra Prabhu, my gratitude towards Srila Prabhupada is increasing.
Thank you very much.
I would like to speak, but there is no time, so I don't like to keep the devotees. There is no 2 minutes. It's okay. Next time.
We can still do that.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Aindra Prabhu iti namine. Govinda Mataji wanted me to speak, and I didn't know what to say because so many of us, we have so many memories. There is not enough for 5 minutes to speak. Many who were having association, they already said, like Purnima Mataji, Padmavati, Govinda Mataji. But I wanted to say something about the youth. I was born devotee, and whatever you were saying about youth, I will disagree. I will disagree. Today, Shutakirti Prabhu, my husband, read something. Shyama Sundara Prabhu was speaking about Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada came to Russia. It was very difficult to get visa. Prabhupada was determined to get there. You and I are there because of one person. You said that the youth is not getting attracted, not because the way we're preaching, because of the purity of preaching. So when Ananta Shanti, Anatoly, he met Shyama Sundara Prabhu, he was already interested. And you know in the USSR how the preaching was. There was no preaching at that time. So, but he was ready. He wanted to see God. So when he saw him, and then Shyama Sundara took him to Prabhupada, Shyama Sundara Prabhu said, it was incredible to watch how Srila Prabhupada was literally empowering Ananta Shanti. And it was only couple of days, couple hours, Ananta Shanti met Srila Prabhupada. There was no YouTube, no Instagram, no books. And you and I are there because of him. Because of one person accepted the pure preaching. The people are attracted, those who are ready to be attracted. As Krishna said, thousands of millions of people would be interested in me, and only a couple would be very seriously interested. But only one of them will achieve me. So similarly, why Aindra Prabhu's preaching is so powerful. uncorrupt purity. No, he didn't try to make his preaching so you and I, as a Hare Krishna youth or Karmi youth, would be attracted. No. His preaching was powerful because he was a messenger of Prabhupada. Postman, copy and paste. So as a youth, as many of us were here, our parents were, especially our parents from USSR, we were very, very serious because they were hungry for God. So Aindra Prabhu's kirtans at that time, when I was having my difficult period of time of the youth, it was a purity that attracted me. So when I came, when I left the college, when I left my parents, when I left everything back in the Moscow, I said, I'm not going to be that person. I'm not going to go to college and then become as this corporate ladder big businesswoman. That was my plan. I'll make a lot of money, I'll be building temples, I'll be traveling all around the world, I will be doing everything for Prabhupada. But then Prabhupada gave me another thing. You're not gonna be that. If you want to be something, then be it for me. I left everything. I came here. Why? Because at the age 12, that tapes, Vrindavan Mellows, were there. And just hearing the pure chanting, that made me get attracted. So all of you are speaking about if we can do this, we can't do this, we can't do... No, you don't have to do anything. Like Purnima Mataji said, if you were not sitting and looking at him chanting, you needed to see how passionate he was. To me, it was that. Enough to me that I joined now deity department, this is my Harinam. The Harinam, Prabhupada said, in India preaching is through deity worshipping. How you present deities to the public. So the deity care department that Mukunda Datta Prabhu has now, it is based on Aindra Prabhu. The perfection Aindra Prabhu showed us about the deities. How real they are. Like he said, I want to bite him. He feels like a chocolate. I want to bite him. He would say those things to us. He would say it because he saw Krishna alive. Every time we waited Saturday, Sunday, and the festivals, it was a festival for us. Because we could see deities alive. Like you, if you chant purely, you bring the holy name alive. But whenever the head pujari or other pujaris dress in the entire deity department, hundreds of us working for those details, the garlands, the dressing, the jewelries, the cleanliness, it's bringing the deities alive. This is our Shuddhanam. And the perfection came from Prabhupada. He saw two things, the holy name and the deities. For you, you took the holy name. For me, I took the deity dressing. So when I came here, the first thing I did, I never came empty-handed. Actually, there is a very funny story. This key, in my childhood, when I was born, I was gifted a golden key. When my father went with the first group of USSR devotees to Vrindavan, my mother said, Brahman Sudhava didn't go to see Krishna empty-handed. So she gave that key, and she said, this is a key to my daughter's life. Let Shrimati Radharani has it. So when my father came, Krishna Das Kaviraj was the temple president at that time. He said, the key is too small. It will get lost. So why don't we sell it and get Shrimati Radharani a crown? So Mukunda Datta Prabhu, before even I came to your department, we already started the buying of the jewelry since back then. And they sold the key. At that time, it was a lot of money. They bought a beautiful crown from Radharani, and they put it on. My father said when he was leaving, he said he saw that Radharani was very pleased. This is what we do. We just follow Guru Sadhu Shastra. Prabhupada said Harinam, deity worshipping, purity. Aindra Prabhu took it. When people ask me, Mataji, give me your blessing, Shrutikirti Prabhu, give me your blessing, we answer only one thing. The blessings Prabhupada gave are already there. Would you accept them? Aindra Prabhu did. Mukunda Datta Prabhu did. So many devotees who've been working so tirelessly here. No, they didn't have ACs. No, they were cooking. I remember Purnima Mataji was cooking. It was the shack, a tin. And they were cooking for festivals here. Aindra Prabhu was chanting. There was no millions of you sitting there killing each other to bang mridangas. By himself. Deity worshipping, like Dinabandhu Prabhu said, it wasn't there properly. We didn't have anything. We were scraping for stuff. Mukunda Datta Prabhu said, we hardly had anything. We were happy to accept anything. Now it's flourishing because of the purity. So if you want to attract youth, copy and paste. Don't come up with anything else. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Aindra Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji. Prabhu, we can proceed with Pushpanjali.